Wake up, gamers, because you're listening to the Big Think Dimension with Dan and Bob Video Games. Hey, Bob.
Hey, Dan.
Chris Wolfhard.
Bing, bing, wahoo.
And Dr. Agro.
I have a flawless Italian accent.
Here on Gigaboots. Wahoo. Now, I don't want to go live to the live cam quite yet because an evil witch has cast a curse on me and I have the DreamWorks face.
Aha!
Damn it.
And I'm really worried about the well-being of our audience. Maybe I'll just start in on the Bob zoom-in cam. I don't even know what that looks like today. We're just going to check.
I should hope it looks like Bob.
He be sitting.
It's a me.
Devious.
Okay, there. I've rid myself of the curse. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Big Think Dimension Live here on YouTube. The only platform where I can stream this and then just do nothing and the VOD's up.
Wow.
Yeah, hit the fucking wow button.
Wow.
Anyway, we're here to talk about video games and also a movie and also a giraffe Pokemon. Not necessarily in this order, but at least the first one will come first. Bob.
Yo, what's up?
Video games!
What about them?
Armored Core 5 and Verdict Day. We finished Armored Core month. We survived, bitch! Jesus Christ.
Man, there's been so many things. I forgot that was this week.
Yeah, that's fair. We basically fell dead to the ground after the Friday stream ended because me and Bob, we finished Armored Core 5 7 hours ahead of schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how long did we beat? It's like 13 and a half hours. We beat it in 6 and a half. This was not the least of which because very good advice from a member of chat named Koji Numbers Go Here, who was like, double shotguns. And I'm like, really? Because before now, those weren't even good, let alone optimal. Lo and behold, very optimal.
In fact, rinse the entire game.
Oh, yeah, no.
A good shotgun is always nice, but the top tier shotgun is just
Yeah, that's good. It restores my faith in humanity to know that before the end of Armored Core, as we knew it before they announced the new one, we got one where shotguns were optimal. It was quite delightful. We wiped through the second half of that game literally as long as it took to go through 2 missions up until that point. It was something.
That game is weird.
Yeah,
it's structured like nothing else.
It is so hard. I've spent a long time trying to think how to phrase this, and I think the best way to do it, to describe how weird Armored Core 5 is, here's the normal part, okay? Normal part of Armored Core 5 is they go, Armored Core 4 is too fast. It's light and fast. We're going to go the other direction from the original Armored Core. We're going to make it slower. We're going to make it heavier. We're going to make it very urban. Here's...
Now, when you say very urban...
I mean, in the streets. It's happening in the streets every day.
There's not rap in this.
We got that early 2000s urban flavor.
No, sadly we do not. But I have the Street Fighter 6 title screen to
I know, I was thinking like Third Strike /6, but for Armored Core would be hilarious.
I got that beta code. Thank you, El Gordo, for Street Fighter 6, and I can't boot the game, but the fucking launch card on PS5 just plays this song, and I'm like, they get it. No, we're going back to 3, baby. This fucking rules. But the weirdest part about 5, the actually strange part of Armored Core 5, is it's not an Armored Core game. It's a normal video game in Armored Core clothing. And what that means is these levels, you start at one point in the level and move really far distances through the rest of it. And they tell you a story over the radio chat, and then they show you a low-budget cuts. They tried to make a normal linear level experience video game out of Armored Core, which is really weird. And you can only be intimately aware of how strange that is once you have played through a number of other ones and just showed up there.
Also, it clearly didn't have enough money to do that.
No.
Not at all.
No, it has easily a fifth the budget it should.
You feel like you walk back and forth the perimeter of one stage at least 3 times throughout the campaign.
Yeah, no, and
Telling me this wasn't like the end of life cycle AAA Armored Core experience I've been waiting for.
It's not the one you've been waiting for. Trust me, it has everything else you're excited for at the end of the PS3 life cycle. An average of 25 frames per second. Way too many visual effects on screen that make it run bad.
Was there a sad dad?
No.
No, I know you said they made it a lot slower.
Uh-huh.
At any point, did your mech have to squeeze through a small rock?
No, weirdly enough, that did not occur.
No?
No. They just use massive underground sewer system that you have to run through that all looks kind of the same. It literally, I started cracking up hardcore during the stream because I'm like, it's the fucking Tony Hawk American Wasteland loading tunnels.
Yeah.
It's literally those. I can't fucking believe it.
It's a seamless open world. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a really bizarre and interesting experience. I would not say that game was good. No.
It was, if anything, it might be the worst one.
Yeah. There's definitely value and merit to what Another Age is that 5 does not have. But there's something deeply fascinating about 5 itself.
Yes.
Every time I think about
it's truly baffling how they made this many wrong choices.
Right. Every time I think about Armored Core 5, I just hear that spooky Earthbound music like it's a cryptid in the corner of my vision. And I'm just like, what the fuck is that?
What if you needed the online servers to tune your mech? We shut those down, by the way.
Yeah, you can't tune a single part in the game because they shut the servers down. And this isn't they shut it down sometime in the last 9 years. They shut it down a year and 6 months after it came out.
That is... Like, I heard you describe this situation, and it sounded like a hand coming up out of the ground. Like, these are the nightmares of old online. Like, back when it wasn't just, the naked evil of getting as much money as possible. It was truly bewildering decisions made by madmen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Truly, truly insane. That game is, yeah. Yeah, no. Bob, did you have anything else you wanted to cover with it?
I feel like there's something else I'm forgetting, but we can go to the next one.
There's the one thing, but it sounds so... we've run into this so many times, even just this year streaming games.
Uh-huh.
Like in the last 12 months, we've run into this numerous times. This is a completely unnecessary in media res situation where it starts at the end of the game, literally. And then you jump back in time and build up your mech and experience the story. I put this in quotes because that is not how that went.
No.
And then you build back up to that moment, and at the beginning of the game, the dude just obliterates you in one shot, is what both Bob and I experienced. And then when you get to him at the end of the game, it's a normal mech fight. We're like, all right. There was no reason for that structure, but apparently a lot of the interest in that game, a lot of the angle and the way the content is made is very geared towards multiplayer. Like the balancing, missions designed for co-op, et cetera, tons. We did the story missions. There's a bunch of other missions that are just missions. We didn't even, like, by this point in Armored Core Month, we want to see your core content and arena. And that's it. We had gone through, 13 Armored Core games by that point? So.
Something like that.
So, people are talking about, what was it? I swear to God, everyone was saying Verdict Day is the terrible one. Like, 5's bad, but Verdict Day's worse somehow. I swear before we did that stream that's how it was prepped.
I always just heard most of them were just this horrible thing no one liked.
So, we start playing Verdict Day. Verdict Day is, they took the skeleton of 5 and made a normal Armored Core with it. And then for people who are absolutely insane into the lore of Armored Core, they throw in shitloads of hooks and references and other things. But the game is still balanced around you online co-oping, and this doesn't become more evident than when you hit the final boss of the game, which You can bring an AI companion in. You can program your own AI. I hear the tools for this are pretty good, but so involved that it would take a sincere amount of time, like huge investment. So we hit the end of the game, and we tried the last boss for 2.5 hours, 3.
Something like that. It was insanely long.
Yeah, we were just last boss of the game. The rest of the game was cake. Last boss of the game, 2.5 hours.
Yeah, they give him probably 5 times more health than you expect.
Yeah, it's truly insane.
Cool. That's always the fucking best.
And like, you know, as I said, the whole thing with Armored Core 5 and Verdict Day is that you're slow and you're heavy, and it's a much more reserved concept for an Armored Core, even compared to the originals. This guy's just basically driving the mech from 4. Like, he's driving a black version of that. So he's fast as hell. His AI is stupid as hell, but he's driving this hugely overpowered thing with 20,000 health and absolutely ridiculous. So after 2.5 hours, servers for Verdict Day are still up. So a member of chat, Leth Davidson, joins us. And I'm like, we're going to fucking solve this. And before I just let him get involved and we go through the steps to invite him, I'm like, this better not be the most supreme punk I've ever been served on the internet. You better have not been watching 3 weeks of our streams just to lull me into the security that you like this game and then go, I don't know what I'm doing. I've never played this. So we finally get it set up and we go. And we get to the screen, in which it is involved. It is stupid. It is a bad online.
Yeah, no, it's like the worst of that PS3 gen of online, where the company has made their own idea of how a server and joining a person online should work, and it's stupid. It's the stupidest thing you've ever seen.
I don't know if you guys remember that you're playing FromSoft games.
Yeah, I was going to say, it is FromSoft Core, and a lot of people are like, this might be why people look on Dark Souls positively at all in the online sense. Because, they have multiple lines in the sand that you need to understand what they mean to the game and what they mean to the game matchmaking you. Like teams and factions, and then whether or not you're enlisted to be a mercenary, and then what mode in which you open the mission and all these other things.
Yeah, it's truly bizarre, because like Dark Souls has that extra layer of, well, we don't want to put you in menus.
Right.
So there's a bunch of weird things around doing that. Mm-hmm. Whereas this game, it's menus.
Yeah. So we finally do it. We get him into the screen where I've got the option highlighted. We're going to start this shit. And he goes, oh no, my screen just died. His TV's just fucking dead. And I'm like, you have to be kidding, dude. This cannot be happening. We've been at this last boss for 2.5 hours. So we're just sitting there.
Not today.
Basically in a zen state, because we've been streaming for 13.5 hours by that point, or something like that. Some ridiculous number. But we're just, he'll figure it out. He'll find a monitor. This'll be okay. And then it ended up being like, oh, guys, don't worry. I didn't need to recharge my smart remote. My TV has buttons on it. All I have to do is tell it this is a PC input, and it will actually display the image. So he does that, and what did it take?
I think it was just the second try you got him.
Yeah, it was second try.
Because he
first try we did a great job, and like the online co-op dude, Leth, got rinsed immediately because, you know, once again, this is the guy piloting the mech I talked about last week on Big Thing. So he's just flying around. He'll stop and do a nuclear nova bomb. And if you're in that, you're basically dead. You're just barely not dead. It's fucking nuts. So he got caught in one of those at the beginning. But when we did the second try, boom, done. Perfect. Nailed
it's almost like it was made for to a co-op and have double the damage output.
Right. Or even just having someone to distract while the other guy shoots, because his patterns are fucked. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, doing the online co-op, it seemed like a pretty interesting and good experience. Looking back on Armored Core Month, how in the grand scheme of Gigaboot's history did we line up the two most eat this gelatinous cube of protein matter months possible, where it's just like Armored Core Month was virtually 14 of the same game in a row.
Yes.
Virtually. And Gears of War was almost the same.
I wouldn't have expected that for Gears of War. I absolutely expected that for Armored Core.
Same.
Right.
You know what I didn't expect for Armored Core Month? For it to win. Not that I dislike Armored Core. I actually really like Armored Core. And I enjoyed playing those games this month. Was that good content? I don't know. I'm morally obligated to do it.
Right. So it better be good.
So we did it, and I hope you all enjoyed it, but that's what that is.
So at this point in time, would you be more excited for a Bloodborne kart racer or an armored kart?
Armored cart, because I feel like you would get something weird about customizing the weapons on your cart. I feel like they would turn the tools of that amazing PS3 racer, Mod Nation Racers, and just make it for your cart. That level of customization.
And then let you use shapes to draw a dick on the back of your robot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And call them 9 balls.
9 balls.
Check out this transition. Hey, Bob, you know who also has 9 balls?
Who's that, Dan?
Overwatch character Zenyatta. My spray literally has the 9 chi balls. And I'm like, hey, Bob, count them. And he goes, oh, no. Is that 9?
My eternity 8 plus 1.
We played Overwatch 2. For people who don't know, I've put 408 hours into Overwatch 1. I'm not proud of this fact. It is just a fact.
Is it weird that when you say I played Overwatch 2, it sounded kind of bougie?
Are you saying that because my prepaid phone cleared the hurdle? I say this with no condescension. I say this with no malice. Shit's Overwatch 1. It's just the same fucking game.
Yeah, they've been on fire. They didn't have time to change it at all.
To the surprise of no one. That game they didn't have when they announced it to try and change the news cycle turns out to not be real.
So,
go ahead.
What is the likelihood they ever release that PvE content?
Dude, I have no idea.
Because they were like, we're doing PvE, we're going to have cutscenes, it's going to have a story. And I'm like, none of that shit's happening. It has just become this.
Yeah, no.
All you did was build a gate to keep poor people out.
It took 3 years, but we built the wall. It genuinely... I don't expect it ever, just because with this sort of stuff... It's not making launch. A lot of the people left Overwatch 2. Kaplan's not there. Producers who were there aren't there. Leads are gone. I don't expect that shit to ever show up. And to be frank, when they described it in the trailers that they did, when they described it early on in vague terms, that sounded like a really difficult plan to execute. Mm-hmm. And then when they gave details halfway through, or a year later, or 2 years later, whenever... That also seemed like an insanely hard to nail thing where they're just like, see, when you go into the single player, you're going to have these 2 types of ability sets, and then those will be able to do these things, and you can choose these characters. You can choose from a pool of these characters for this mission, and then a pool of these characters for this mission. And I'm like, this...
Yeah, they so overcomplicated it was insane. It's like, why are you making 100 extra special moves? People just want to play together.
Right. This has been the easiest... the easiest conceptual thing to wrap your head around possibly ever. Like, what is our audience? What? They want to not just play an inherently toxic competitive online game with this fun feeling shooter you made. Like, and I'm not saying playing Overwatch is inherently toxic. I mean, there are people where if it's a shooter like that is not co-op, it will feel toxic to them because you will be failing yourself or your allies, and it's just a bad headspace for them. I'm not that type. I've never messed up in an online game ever.
Some people that have feelings of inadequacy or tension while playing online games might have very direct reasons for having developed those feelings over years of abuse, perhaps, one might say.
What are you talking about? You're not Handsome Joe. I remember remember Handsome Joe and me and Bob having Halo 2 at launch was the first time I understood disappointment in your teammates. As we spawned in this 3v3, and Handsome Joe's like, let's do it! And just runs straight into the entire enemy team. And I'm like, how is being closer gonna help you kill them faster? You don't have a shotgun even.
He had plans. We'll never know them.
Look, I can
will never
categorically
understand.
say it is easier to aim every gun in Halo from 2 feet away.
True, but only if you're alive. Yeah, I enjoy Overwatch 2. They have some new characters that are neat. They're overpowered a little because it's Blizzard. And Orisa's moveset was completely replaced. Orisa is a tank. It's a quadruped mech. Not sure if you've ever seen or would recognize based on this description. Used to throw out shields and do like gravity pulls and other things. The ult used to be an empowering your team thing. Now the ult is like spinning a thing above her head and slamming it down to do an insane amount of damage. Wiped everyone on my team but me one of these games, and I went, oh fuck. There it is, the Blizzard character of the week. No longer has the throwing out shield. Has a spinning attack that's just deflecting bullets. Pretty fucking cool. Orisa's interesting. I actually liked Orisa before, and I haven't really tried the new one. And there's the spear tossing move.
Oh yeah, I got hit by that once and was confused as a spear was stuck in my character.
I know! You're just like, who the fuck? Like, you go into shock. Because it is literally a stun hit. And there's a good amount of you just staring at the spear freaking out, basically. They made some interesting changes. However, the music, and I say this with a broad interest in music and many acceptable genres and interpretations of certain ideas, musically speaking. I am a music appreciator. This soundtrack sucks now. The easiest way to describe it. And you need to understand, this isn't a cynical take. Please go listen to the originals and then the new versions. Because for Overwatch, what you're talking for themes, a lot of them is like the round is starting, play of the game, end of the round. End of the round and play of the game sounds like somebody did the epic MCU remix of the original themes that were already epic MCU songs. So they just play them slower and louder. And it's like, it literally comes off as that Whitest Kid You Know skit, where it's like, can you say it louder while smiling?
With your mouth open.
Happier with your mouth open, but for music. It's kind of insane to the point where I think the whole first day, every time it would cut in, either he would crack or I would crack, as we just have to hear the same song, but at a third speed and louder.
Yeah, it's honestly like, oh, that's actually playing.
I thought my computer was breaking. But yeah, no, I don't love that. 5v5 seems to be going okay so far, I suppose. I feel bad for anyone who had a group of 6 they rolled with, but me, by and large, in Overwatch, I always rolled in groups of 3.
It was interesting for us to queue up and just all select the flex roll, and we'd frequently be attackers.
That's because they got enough new people with it being free to play that it's not. Because the problem used to be you would literally look at what roles you would set, and it'd be like support, 2 minutes, tank, 2 minutes, open roll, 2 minutes, DPS, 8, 12. It's just 2 across the board now because they made it free to play and they reduced one of the tanks. So thinking about it numerically, if there are now 10 people in a match versus 12 people in a match, there are that many more matches being made. So there are that many more DPS slots. It seems fine. That part seems fine. There is one thing they did that absolutely chaps my ass. They took out every map in the game that was a 2 control point map because it's a 2 control point map. Which means regardless of the merit of how well designed those maps are, they're just fucking gone as a blanket rule because they introduced a new thing, which is, I don't remember the exact name, but
Chase the robot.
let's call it Chase the fucking robot. supervised.
Yes.
That mode's fine, and I like those maps, but I don't like having Temple of Anubis, Volskaya Industries, the space station, and a number like some other maps that I'm not even thinking of off the top of my head removed just because they're 2 control point maps. Like Temple of Anubis is a fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, a lot of those are iconic maps.
Yeah,
And it's just like, oh, they're gone now, cuz.
yeah.
Which,
to be fair, like you should have retuned Volskaya Industries. For some reason, Volskaya of all 3 of these felt like the one where it was either nothing's gonna happen or the first control point will not exist. Like that feels like how that went most of the time in my 408 hours of playing Overwatch 1.
it's
Or as I like to call it, Overwatch 2.
yes. Even that one, I have a lot of positive memories
Me
of that
too.
map and think of it
No.
when I think of the game.
No, I really like that map.
Mhm.
Don't take me saying they should have rebalanced it as me saying they should have gotten rid of it. I enjoy Volskaya Industries. It's cool. But it's gone now. So I don't know if they're going to figure something out or what.
They come back as co-op levels.
Oh, God, that would be upsetting.
Yeah.
My prediction is they will eventually come back. I feel like there's...
I mean, that's just extra content sitting around.
Okay.
It'd be a waste not to.
Here's the positive version of why they would come back.
Okay.
They hear people miss them. They think about that. It's content lying on the table. They figure out a way to bring it back and make it work for them. Pessimistic version. There's no strong leadership with a vision over there. They will hear anyone say anything and immediately fold. But regardless, Overwatch 2, outside of the music, the audio is identical to 1.
Yeah.
The whole experience is fucking so similar. I can't.
It is the same game, absolutely.
It is, but they changed some of the abilities.
I still feel like they should have dropped the 2 branding. They should have been like, that was a mistake. We're pulling it back and just calling this Overwatch and doing a big update.
And another layer on top of that is this game in this era, like this game's duration was the exact era where it took off. It took them 6 years to make it free to play. It's like, dude, I can't even count how many free to play games blew up in the time you were a pay for game.
Yep.
Like you have Rocket League, you have Fortnite, you have PUBG. Well, PUBG was always $20, right? They never made that free.
I think PUBG was full price initially.
Yeah, it costs money, but it's insane that it took them 6 years because 3 years in. I mean, yeah, there's Apex Legends. To a lesser extent than all these, chat's bringing up Paladins, and then of course TF2 has existed
TF2,
the whole time.
Valorant.
It is eternal. Valorant, honestly, like I said last week, I enjoy how Overwatch and Valorant feel as shooters, and I wish Gundam Evolution felt that good. Maybe they'll get there. But yeah, it's insane that it took them 6 years to make it free, and they have this cursed monkey's paw of it'll have story mode, guys, and it's like we don't need that. No one needed that.
Yeah, you
should do that eventually.
You could have saved the 2 number for when you had that.
Yes,
or just never do it. Like, I mean, they're dropping all this content for it. They had the opportunity to be like, no, we said we're going to make a live service game that lives forever and always has cool new content, and then actually do that. But then they just put this curse 2 on and went, nope, sorry, the first one's dead. What do you mean bad PR? Who didn't like that we did that?
Yeah.
I mean, this is how bad this what do you mean the story content isn't there situation is going, okay? Saw it in chat multiple times. People are floored that it's not there. I went to a Whataburger last night, and the guy in drive-thru's like, what the fuck do you mean it's not there?
Why were you talking to the guy at the Whataburger drive-thru about Overwatch?
He brought it up first. He asked
why did he bring it up?
Oh god, you guys are gonna...
Were you wearing the helmet?
I was wearing the Bastion shirt because it has the cute bird on it. And he said, hey, is that a chocobo? Admittedly, it's nighttime, the car's dark. So I go, no, it's a Bastion shirt, Overwatch. And he's like, cool. Then we started talking about, hey, fuck Blizzard. So that was a great conversation, actually, as he basically says the greatest hits of Big Think Dimension coming out of his mouth instead of mine or Chris's.
This is exciting. I'm probably going to Whataburger tonight when we're done recording. I have anticipation now.
Well, if you get a gamer in the drive-thru, if you look in his eyes and you go, "That's probably a gamer," you'll know. That was the one who was like, "Yeah, every time they spin up a classic server on WoW, people are happy, unlike every time they make new content." It's so fucking true. Yeah, points for Whataburger. Exactly. Problem demerit. I ate the breakfast bowl. Do not do that.
Ooh.
I don't know what the hell is wrong with them. The eggs were salt. Just pure salt. I love salt. I have a higher salt tolerance than most people I know. I know, right, Chris? It should be that. But it was too much for even me. It was fucked up.
I was just watching Dan die in the corner while trying to eat it yesterday.
Forcing myself to eat this bowl. They have a meal. They have the breakfast bowl meal, and I go, "What comes with the meal?" He's like, "Hash browns." I'm like, "Doesn't the bowl have hash browns?" He goes, "Yeah." And I'm like, "I think I'll just take a drink." And he laughs and goes, "Good point." Anyway, that's recommended Overwatch 2, I guess.
If you have a non-prepaid phone.
Yeah. If your prepaid plan has never marketed to an African American audience
or Hispanic,
I bet you could probably get, what is it, Mint, the one that Ryan Reynolds?
Mm-hmm. Oh
yeah, I bet you could get his prepaid and it'll be fine. God damn it, I'm about to go get one just to find out. But yeah, no, Overwatch 2 is neat. It's on every platform. That PS5 version, it does a thing that makes me mad, and it's justified, but I know a lot of people, without seeing how it looks, they're going to be like, "Dan, you're getting a stick up your ass about nothing. This isn't that important." The character select runs at 30 frames per second with no motion blur. So you take these beautiful animations, these characters like posing and doing some bam, bam, boom, boom.
No,
and it looks stuttery as shit.
Why?
I don't know. It's a PS5.
It's the character select screen. That's when you cheat.
Right? Yes, exactly.
Like,
you're showing one character.
Like, can you please hit 60 at half a fighting game?
But the game itself runs at 60, which is neat. It should run higher. Like, the PS5 can run things at 120 if they just put the time in.
It's really frustrating to see, like, this side of Activision was Call of Duty being like, "Yeah, we get 120 frames in. We have for the last 3 years."
Right.
And then Overwatch is like, "Oh, no."
You want how many frames on the character select? We can't. I don't understand. Yeah. That's Overwatch 2. I enjoyed it. I plan on playing more. That is the same fucking game, though. They just finally delivered new content for the first time in 3 years.
Yeah, shutting down your live service game for 3 years basically might hurt
interest.
Everything about it. Yeah.
Yeah. What was it we were talking about? Because we did some streams with Shibuya Gato. We co-hosted her stream, and then we did our test stream for this big thing, which is live here on YouTube right now. We did the test to make sure that it would work at all, because we haven't streamed on YouTube since they stopped adding content to Overwatch. Is a really good way to frame that.
We have been summoned once again.
Wait a second. Overwatch content? I need to stream on YouTube. Time to get toxic. That was fun. It's really good. I enjoy the new characters, but they retuned Mei, so she doesn't completely freeze enemies with her left click anymore. Her freeze spray just slows them down a lot and actually does real damage. So it's been fucking weird as I choose Mei and people die to me. I don't have to freeze them completely and then get a headshot, or freeze them and let my allies kill them. I get to kill them.
Crazy.
Yeah, feels good. I really do appreciate that. But that's it for me. Bob, did you have... they're trying to do communication stuff on console with the input commands. Fucking nuts. I wish I could just pull it up right now because it's unreal. There are two different radial menus that you access with left or down on the D-pad. And since it's those and not something you can do with while moving, you end up in this really weird situation. Also, since jump isn't on a shoulder button, you have to stop aiming to do jumping, which, jumping while shooting and stuff in a really competitive game is really helpful. But it was fun to play on my PC at 144 hertz and then come over to console and beat up children, literal children. Because I signed in right before school, I guess.
Hey, Bob, did you play anything this week?
You have any other comments on?
They did the battle passes in there now. The experience curve for that seems real slow, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Unlike Gundam Evolution, there are shitloads of dailies, weeklies, and seasonal challenges that make me already level 12 and a half.
Look, Dan,
out of like 80.
There's a difference between slow and
iceberg.
Iceberg or whatever you want to call the glacial movement that is Gundam Evolution's level curve.
Yes. No, that's true.
But
that's true.
Yeah. That's one of those things I kind of need to get through the season and see how it felt to really be able to judge. Was this excessive? Did this feel good at all?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I think it's currently going at a good pace for me. Like, maybe if we targeted more of what you needed when you were in the group.
Maybe.
Because, like, if you compare... Like, I did one play session for, like, 3 or 4 hours without you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you compare our weeklies, like, I have a lot of them done, and you don't have... Because the weirdest thing is not only do you have those weeklies, you have clear this many of a weekly challenge and get real currency. And this is the most fucked up pittance shit possible because they give you, here's 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents. It's like, your battle pass is $10. What is this supposed to do for me? Besides, Bob, if it's that much of a problem, instead of buying the $10 battle pass, which just upgrades you from the free battle pass to the premium battle pass, you should buy the $22 version that gives you 20 tiers for free. That's the best value.
I can't do that. I got to do that for Genshin.
Smart. I think that's...
Yeah, that's probably
We also played Pokemon Sun and Moon. Still good. Still really good. Still really enjoying playing through that. Please tune in next Monday.
Yeah, the only problem with that game is that when Pokemon call for help, which is the worst mechanic they ever put in.
Oh, yeah. It's like the insane...
and then the frame rate, and then it's like, we used our most powerful attack, making the frame rate 12 frames a second.
Most powerful attack showing the other trainer at the same time as a Pokemon. Sometimes that's enough. Yes. I may have put down that entire game just because of the Pokemon can cry for help in the same turn that they hit you, and then a whole other Pokemon of a nearly identical level and everything just appears. And this would be fine. This would be tolerable if it was just out in the wild. But the totem Pokemon can do it too. And I'm like, that's annoying.
I don't know.
I know that the post game give like there's like more totem Pokemon stuff in the post game, where it's like they're like, no, they have like tech. It's like, I'm calling in my guy that has moves to support me.
Yeah, I kind of like it on the totem Pokemon because it makes it feel more like an RPG battle, like boss battle. It happening to random Pokemon is where it gets annoying to me.
Because you don't want to do the small battle.
Yeah, I don't want to do this small battle that gets dragged out for like an extra.
Yeah, I have had one that just goes and goes and goes.
The horde battle was only in X and Y, right?
Yes, it may have also been an ORAS, but either way, it ended before Sun and Moon, as far as I know.
Yeah, because if they tried to render 6 Pokemon on screen in Sun and Moon, the 3DS would just burst into flames.
Yeah,
that is true. I do find that deeply frustrating. But aside from that, I'm really enjoying the game. Also, I think it's interesting that exact mechanic is a really good way to get shinies, because if you make it to the 40th Pokemon in a row, that's a guaranteed shiny, is what chat told me. And I was like, now you need enough PP and moves that won't kill the enemy Pokemon, or you're just using an item every turn to be like...
There's a legendary in that game that is good at that. It's one of the Island God Pokemon. I can't remember exactly what its moveset is, but I remember it just being like, that is for catching things.
Cool. Based on everything I know about Sun and Moon so far, its name probably starts with Tapu. And then it is something else. But I don't know. Ran into Type Null. I love Type Null.
It's so good.
Okay, so this is my best way of describing Type Null. This is what I said during the fucking stream. Type Null is like if you gave scripture about mythical creatures from olden times to a police sketch officer. Like the dude who just has to make the profile image for the police to look at. It's just like, according to them, its dick was a hammer, its head was a bird.
I mean, he looks like he's built out of like a few different Sentai villain of the week costumes.
Yes.
We had some bits at the end and we needed a new one.
Yeah, exactly. Don't worry, guys. We're not going over budget. I have a sewing kit.
He's so good.
No,
we got the chicken feet. It's great.
Yes, it is. That's what it made me think of. Eyes like fire, teeth like spears, dick like hammer. But yeah, Sun and Moon, really great. I'm so excited for more Pokemon days. Pretty soon here, we're gonna have to play 8th gen again. We got like 2 more weeks before 8th gen, and then 9th gen comes out. We got that trailer.
We did,
which was just the trailer form of all the info we got before, except for that one exclusive.
Yeah, there's a few little tiny things in there.
And honestly, as much as it's only a couple tiny things, that made me hype. I was like, oh, this still looks really fucking good.
I feel more excited about this upcoming game because I'm still riding the wave of being proud of myself for watching the trailer for Sword and Shield and then deciding to not buy Sword and Shield.
It's fucked up.
It's this tech I developed last gen.
How do you see that sheep and not just be like, I need to play the game?
Yeah, I don't know. What about Bolt Hunt? Nothing?
I got by with YouTube comic dubs of the female trainer being incredibly Scottish.
Yeah, no, that was pretty good. That was a good era. It was really, really good.
It's a real shame that it seems like the Pokemon anime didn't just make a better version of this game.
They will eventually.
Maybe.
On a long enough timeline, I bet they do Sword and Shield, and it's great. Yeah, I was going to say, Sword and Shield got curry, and Spain got Subway subs? Like, what do they love Subway over there? Is there sandwich culture? Do I need to move to Spain? That is the question. I love some fucking sandwiches. I was like, this is ridiculous. This is coming out of left field for me. Me watching that trailer, I'm just like, sub? Okay, anyway, that's it. We're moving on, Bob.
Do you want me to go straight into my demo?
You know what? No, never mind. Hey, Aggro, what have you been playing?
Fucking nothing.
Nice.
I've had a week, and none of it involved video games.
Yeah, man, sometimes that happens.
Yep.
I mean, if you go check out, I think it's year 1 of Big Think Dimension, there's some times between the editing, the job, and everything else, it's just like, I played literally nothing.
Yeah, like the first year was like, okay, Dan played nothing except what they streamed. Bob played some things.
And Dan played nothing, and they only streamed once.
I remember listening to it thinking, like, come on, Dan, you've got a job and you do some podcasts. You've got to be able to fit in some time in there. And now I'm like, oh, the other side of this is not fun.
Oh, this is not how this was supposed to go. Yeah, no, it's really funny how people... What was it? Somebody asked us, hey, did you watch Tim Rogers' 6-hour review? I'm just like, we just ended our record month. When did I have time for that? I'm very excited. We are pushing back the Blinks 2 stream from potentially, never announced, but potentially was going to be this Catterday. It will now be next Catterday, if things continue as planned. Because I need real time off.
Whoa.
Shocking concept. We spent most of Armored Core month and this is no exaggeration, I added up the hours, in a 70 to 80 plus hour work week the whole time.
Yeah, I think, what was it, an average of 7 hours streamed per day of that month?
It was an average of 5.7 hours of streaming every single day. And that's, of course, ignoring podcasts.
Uh-huh. I mean, those are just little short things. We don't do much. Yeah. We don't do much podcasting here.
Do people edit those? I feel like they just upload the recordings, right?
Only hacks need to be edited afterwards. We do it flawless the first time. No gaps, no fumbles.
Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot to deal with. And I'm glad it's over. I enjoyed Armored Core Month. I wouldn't take it back for anything. Because it got me a car. No, because I do enjoy Armored Core. I think the funniest moment of the month, and I'm not trying to rag on anyone, so there will be no names, but there was a really funny moment where someone tweeted at me, "Hey, I'm just wondering, why didn't you guys look up guides on how to play Armored Core before you played this Armored Core game?" And it was like the 12th one we had done that month. And this tweet exclusively existed because we didn't beat the super boss of Last Raven.
The game we beat normally.
We did a normal playthrough and then ran into the super boss, tried for 2 hours, and then went, "Look, we've been streaming for a while. We're good."
There's always one.
It was so funny though. I just laughed. I wasn't upset or anything. I just thought that was the funniest shit in the world. Like, "Hey, why didn't you look up how to play this franchise you've been playing for most of your life?" And I'm like, "Well,
have you tried getting good?"
I'm gonna be honest. In a different time in my life, in a different space, I could imagine re-engineering my mech and trying really, really hard across multiple days to beat that boss. That was not happening during Armored Core Month.
No. We weren't coming back.
I repeat, 70 to 80 hour work weeks. Anyways, so next week, Blinks 2. Tomorrow, yelling at Asian street food. Let me know if you want to stop by to yell at an Asian street food video. Eric,
Okay, videos of Asian street food. No, okay. All right.
we're not going to Asia. No.
Like, I don't know, we're going like to Destin and see if you can find a food truck.
Just go to an Asian grocery. What the fuck is this, sir? That is beans, and stop yelling. No! I'm a YouTuber. This is the only tone I can talk in. Dan's gone full, like, chaotic evil. He's just screaming in Asian grocery stores on TikTok now. That's all he does for content anymore.
They won't let him back in any, though. It's unfortunate.
Bro, this is content. Come back out or I won't get health care. I love this country, bro.
Worst part about making a Gigaboots account on TikTok, I accidentally watched TikToks for 10 minutes and I could not be prepared for how much of a hell site that is. Everyone calls Twitter a hell site because people disagree. No, TikTok. Oh my God. I didn't spend that much time at all, and I saw at least 5 to 6 different videos that were like machine learning AI stolen videos narrating those videos. And then stuck a movie scene that was completely unrelated beneath those stolen TikTok videos.
Yeah, it's just
6 of them.
It's that, and it's a constant stream of media. Like, it will be blaring a video at you no matter what. You need to escape it.
So yeah, that was an unintended consequence of that, unfortunately. I'm completely shocked that many people have TikTok accounts in our fandom. So cool, I guess. Hope that's working out for you. One of the other things, and I think this is a crucial element of the TikTok hell zone grenade. In that time, between those 6 videos like that and people pantomiming them delivering stand-up comedy that is popular for the week, so everyone's doing the same bit, there was a lady who's like, "Here's how I save money on detergent. I buy a shitload of these chemicals and mix them in a giant thing, and it better be safe to stick in my washing machine." And I'm just like, this is just like the pink goo, but for breaking your washing machine or ruining your clothes.
There was some guy who I completely lost because it was months ago. His whole thing was just looking at TikTok cleaning videos and be like, how soon before they make mustard gas?
Yeah.
Because if you mix Comet and bleach, it makes mustard gas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, this.
so and most of them was like, okay, 15 seconds, 25 seconds, 15 seconds.
Yeah, no, it's that is dangerous. But
Yeah.
Anyways, hey Bob.
Within the last week, I found out that Twitter is trying to become that in some way. Because now if you open any video, just like any video on Twitter, and swipe up instead of swiping down, it'll take you to another random video from the ether. Like nothing on your timeline, just videos.
Why don't we have a cool word for that? Jumping from video to video, directionless. It feels it feels like exploration or time
It's
travel.
like societal decay.
I mean, We definitely have a word for the
It's media
depression.
he's plugged in.
Mimetic gray goo.
Hey Bob.
Hey, Dan.
Chris, what have you been playing?
You fucker. I want to know what that picture's about.
I for reasons I can't entirely explain, I beat Dante's Inferno.
God.
I would do it, so I can't judge you.
Right?
I didn't, I mentioned last time that it's a God of War ripoff. I actually didn't expect that going in because people compared it so many times to Bayonetta when it came out, because it came out 1 month after Bayonetta.
That's crazy. That was blatantly them making God of War.
Yeah.
I mean, Dante's
I
just so
never-
sexy,
I never really looked at it because even in 2010, it's like, we're an American company making an action game. And I'm like, I'm not buying that.
Congratulations,
Yep.
you have pattern recognition.
But it was interesting to, that game has the whole game is a cuck arc, the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Also, it was interesting to play a 7th gen game where they run out twice instead of just one, where there's 2 levels of them running out, which is about 3 hours in, they run out and stop trying to do like big interesting environments and like set PC bosses. Like, no, we're done with that. You're now in caves.
Oh.
It's like you're on the 6th circle of hell. An hour later, you're now on the 9th. We don't have time. The first like 3 or 4 were really big and involved, and it's like, we have 10 of these to get through. Let's fucking go. And then at the very end, they run out and are like, we don't fucking have a final level. Put the post-game challenges into the game as the final level. Like, in a God of War game where it's like, you unlock the circles of Hades, and you have to do like 10 challenges that are fucking irritating to get some secret movie.
Yeah.
Like that's in all the originals, except 3, I think. It's in 1 and 2 at least. They just put those in the game as the last level.
Wow.
And what they did was they made the actual difficult part an optional challenge that would give you a bunch of souls if you completed it. But the last hour of that game is do these 10 arena challenges in a row. None of them are interesting at all. It's just basic combat challenges.
Is it like complete it without jumping or something like that?
Yeah, those are the extra challenges. It'll be like stay in the air for 7 seconds. That's one of them. So I mentioned last time the experience system where you have to do the God of War execution on enemies to get your experience for your you have to punish them to get unholy experience or absolve them to get holy experience.
Yeah.
I thought that would be terrible, but it's mostly fine because there's these sinners all over. Most of them are directly in your path, but some of them you have to like go down a side path to get to. And those are just like, they're just these kneeling figures being like, please. And then you grab them by the throat and it says what they did and their name. And some of them are like, one of them's Genghis Khan. And it's like, are you going to punish or absolve Genghis Khan?
Another one's Dan Reichert.
If you punish them, you get, regardless of which you pick, you get like 600 experience for that branch, which is a lot. But if you absolve them, you have to do a 45-second musicless rhythm game.
What?
Like it throws up the button, YBAX up on the screen, in the middle of the screen, and then buttons come from the cardinal directions to it, and you have to hit them when they're, in place. Early is fine, late is not, because that's another like Western thing I've noticed in these types of things. A second early is better than a fraction of a second late.
Yeah, that's very Lords of Shadow.
There's no music. It sure seems like there should be music. It is dead fucking silent. And doing it gives you an enormous amount of bonus souls. And you would think that this factors into the ending, but it doesn't. There's only one. Now, about what I said about the about them running out.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned the motion comic cutscenes that look like DMC the DMC last time.
Uh-huh.
There's also really high fidelity pre-rendered cutscenes, but only a couple. So I'm like, what the fuck happened to this game? Because there's like, we're trying to be a God of War pre-rendered tier cutscene, but there's like 3 of them.
Let me run some quick questions. Same studio as Dead Space, right?
Yes.
Came out after Dead Space, right?
I guess so.
What if Riccatello, because keep in mind that's the Riccatello era, what if Riccatello or the person who came in after them just went, Dead Space did not make nearly enough money for how much we spent on it. We need to pare back on this God of War game they're working on next. And that was when they cut the budget.
That would make sense because the plot makes no sense at all. Like, the plot flat out does not make sense.
Unlike the book, which makes an immense amount of sense as Dante travels through there and then he goes, this is my neighbor. He sucked in life. So now he's down here. And you're like, thank you, author.
You're so smart.
It's really for intellectual.
I'm so glad so much of modern Christian cosmology is based on this fucking burn book.
I know, right? What a good and healthy source to get your lore from.
It's pretty obvious that this game did not perform because Visceral almost immediately said they weren't making a sequel. I think it was like 4 months later they were like, we ain't making a sequel.
Does it have a sequel
I don't know.
tease?
Yes, it does.
Of course it does.
Well, there's a sequel to Dante's Inferno, Bob.
Is this the anime?
No, the anime is just an adaptation of the game as far as I know, but there was like a follow-up poem that's like about Dante ascending Mount Purgatorio in Purgatory.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And honestly, that one's a little weirder from the descriptions I've heard of it than the first one. I don't know.
Nobody ever reads anything that isn't the Inferno. You find me a man who's read the Divine Comedy and I will flee.
I've read the Divine Comedy.
Like
really? Yes, and every Ender and Bean book. Okay,
like,
you are on a list.
I also read the Silmarillion. Satan fights you with his giant goat cock just hanging out in the final boss.
Of course.
Awesome.
It's just out there.
Because it's a very mature video game for grown-ups.
Yes, absolutely.
Tamim absolutely played this game. There's tons of stuff from the DMC that's just in this.
Not surprising.
The
at all.
elite enemy type is almost exactly the same. Their designs are even almost exactly the same. Your cross weapon, which is you only have 2 weapons. You have the scythe and the cross. The cross is just the chakrams. The cross is just the chakrams from DMC the DMC. They throw out projectiles in the exact same pattern. They have a move that sucks everybody to you. They throw off a bluish white light. Like,
Beautiful.
there is no way that he did not play this game.
Yeah, why would
I'm
you take
sure that-
inspiration for your Devil May Cry game from a really bad God of War knockoff? What mysteries?
Well, white people made that, so it was better.
Yeah, I know.
You know, I want to point something out. I spent the first 2.5, let's say maybe 3 years of the podcast ever trying to be the most on the line, not like I don't know that gaming journalism was really racist during 7th gen, and just after enough fucking evidence piled up, I'm like, I give up.
Yeah, there's a reason that so many of them are now gone.
Yeah, and
It's always bothered me when game journalists get like so unbelievably indignant when you even put that up as a potential. I'm like, the industry was like primarily boomer white dudes. Why on earth are you going to bat for this? It's like, if it was any other industry, you'd look at this spread of people and be like, yeah, they probably, unconscious bias at best.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and again, this is like games are art, but don't talk about like biases in reviewing or criticism, even though that's literally a constant subject in movie criticism. It's like controls the press cycle during Oscar season every single fucking year.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's a real shame. A real shame I didn't edit Lucifer into the fucking thumbnail this week.
Oh, thank God.
I meant to.
He's so awful.
Maybe I'll do the run back.
I don't know if this was an effect of playing on the Series X, which basically destroys loading, but if you get killed by an enemy's command grab, you don't even like the game over. It immediately cuts to the game over, like in the middle of the grab.
Oh, that's good.
You didn't even get to see how you died.
It's over.
It's over, man.
Yeah, but
More fighting games should work like that.
It's like that meme that happened a while back where people were just editing fighting game matches for the minute the character achieves their win condition, it just cuts to the victory screen.
Yes.
So it would be like Kazuya does Electric Wind God Fist and immediately cuts to Kazuya win.
Kazuya wins.
But that was Dante's Inferno. It's on Game Pass. You should try it. It's fascinating to see just them chug along with this story that it's like, this doesn't make any sense. I don't understand what the fuck were they cooking?
Liam. I had a weird realization. I want other people to voice something on this. I'm gonna spoil one of the news segments, one of the news bullets. The PS5's jailbroken, which means at some point Lance McDonald will get Bloodborne running on it at a proper frame rate and resolution. I think I might have more value out of a second PS5 than I might an Xbox Series X.
Fact.
Well, if somebody cooks up if somebody starts fixing backwards compatibility,
right?
I also, for reasons I can't explain, was like, I'm gonna stream all of Super Mario Sunshine.
How'd that go?
That game sucks.
Wow. Usually you get like the hedge first.
He's right to say it. He is right.
Like I'm trying. I went into that being like, it was like the opposite of Banjo-Kazooie, where I went into Banjo-Kazooie expecting it to be miserable, but it was fine. And I expected Sunshine to be, decent. And I'm like, wow, this is kind of bad. Like it's blatant. Nintendo normally doesn't push shit out that's blatantly undone.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's not their thing by and large.
But this has 7 levels.
Mm-hmm.
Mario 64 had 15.
Mm-hmm.
The levels in this are not significantly larger or more complicated than levels in Super Mario 64.
Mm-hmm.
And so many of the shines in Super Mario Sunshine are just like filler. It like every single mission has the chase Shadow Mario for 2 steps and spray him a little bit and he gives up. Okay.
It's worth noting that this is when Miyamoto says he was his absolute least happy as a game creator, because he had to keep in mind what the competition was doing and what he thought would be necessary to stand out compared to them, instead of just making his own thing.
Is Sunshine why we have the Wii?
I don't even know what Sunshine could be copying, though. Like what it could even be a response to.
No, it's not about copying. It's about having the new, like, this is the Mario that blank, right? Like, it's worth noting the next Zelda is Wind Waker, instead of that thing they did the tech demo with that looked too similar to Ocarina, where they're just like, well, it has this drastically new art style, and that allows us to do things with his expression and stuff. This is the Mario game with this new pump mechanic, so that makes it different from Mario 64. This isn't just another Mario. The weirdest thing about that is I really need to play the 60 frames per second hack of it, because the game originally was meant to do that, and it just can't hold it at all. So right before launch, they locked it at 30. People have, because the Wii is just a more powerful GameCube, they've just made a Wii ROM hack where you can just play it at 60 and it's locked and it's good. And
that
it's
would
widescreen.
definitely help.
Yeah, that would be neat.
There's just like that whole hotel level sucks. Every single thing you have to do in that hotel level is dog shit.
That is the peak worst part of that game, 100%.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking with that one.
but there's also just so many shines that are nothing. Like the dude who wants you to race him in all 3 races, it's just like it's 10 feet that way. I'm like, what do you mean? In Mario 64, both times you race Koopa the Quick, it's like across the entire fucking level.
Yes.
And in here, it's like, no. It's honestly, most Sunshine levels feel smaller than 64 levels.
They do, yeah. Real quick,
or you just go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, real quick, for anyone who hasn't played Sunshine or just doesn't remember, the hotel is an absolute nightmare for a litany of reasons. Not the least of which is most doors in the hotel are one way. So you're working your way into one room and then going up through the ceiling and then dropping down. And then there's a whole thing with that. And that's the mystery in the thing. And it's a total pain in the ass if you enter the lobby again and then you have to start all the way back at the beginning. The claustrophobic rooms make the camera just do nightmare bullshit constantly.
Yeah, no, I've seen Sunshine's camera.
It is not great.
There's that unbelievably terrible fight against the King Boo, which is literally RNG based. Where it's like you have to roll the slot machine and hope it lands on fruit so you can get the things to hurt him with.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And it can go 4 or 5 cycles without giving you fruit.
Yeah.
I will say, like, I have not played Sunshine myself. You know, I've only ever heard about it. But I always had something of a sort of off opinion about it because I noticed something that people who like Sunshine, they're all the same age. They're the kids who were too young to have played 64 in its heyday, and this was their Mario.
Now I need to call up Handsome Joe and be like, hey, would you ever say Sunshine was your favorite? Okay. Because that's the only thing I can think of.
I mean, aside from random errant hipsters, that has been my experience. So people are like, no, Sunshine's really good, actually.
Yeah, I feel like the two things that I've seen is people who are what you're saying of that age, and people who say vibes. And as a Floridian, I'm like, Mario's a tourist now. He's the enemy.
I don't even think it has like good vibes. I think it has the conceit of good vibes and doesn't
just
deliver
like
on
Florida. That's why I fucking hate it. It feels like being in Orlando at a shitty condo.
like people always talk about like, oh, it's the Mario game where everything's a real location. And I think people have actually made ROM hacks to let you like, because you can see some levels in the distance from the hub. I think people have made hacks to let you just go to them.
Oh, that would be cool as hell.
So people like it from that angle, but I'm like, man, it doesn't deliver on this at all. There's just so many hollow missions. Like, there's 4 egg enemies here. Kill them and you get a shine. It takes like 30 seconds. Not a big deal. And I'm like, this is pretty egregious in a game that has less than half the content of Super Mario 64.
Yeah, it feels really weird when there are really, really easy ones like that. And then there's the saw trap that is the hotel room.
Like, or are pushing that watermelon down this horrible path.
They put all the really, you could tell that they like had no time because it's like, just put all the ones that are fucking impossible as the optional ones.
Mm-hmm.
There's also just stuff like fight the squid 3 times. We're really desperate for fucking anything. Fight that goo piranha plant monster like 8 times.
Yeah. Chat's bringing it up, and I've been waiting to say it. Pachinko machine.
Again, at least that's optional.
Yeah, of course it's optional. But
even the last level and Bowser feel really hollow. Like that last level up to Bowser is an unchallenging platform segment.
Uh-huh.
And then the boat, which is only difficult because it controls bad. And that's it. And then you're at the end.
I legit cannot remember the Bowser fight from this game.
He's in the big bathtub, and you have to rocket jump up and ground pound the 5 engines holding the floating bathtub that's in the void up, and then he falls, then it's over.
Okay.
Huh. I think the lead up to Bowser.
Remember the cutscene, Bob? You land there and Peach is on the rubber ducky, and Bowser's like, "Mario!" Mario, how dare you interrupt my vacation?
This is a spot-on impersonation, just to be clear. In fact, that might have been better. Pretty rough.
I had no idea that he was
speaks English.
Kuwabara in such.
He is.
That's so good.
I think the build up to Bowser's level could have been cool if it was a more developed level and zone. Because visually it's very neat. It's pretty epic feeling. If it wasn't just one tiny path. And
Yeah,
then you
it's
were
just
there.
like such a short path. Just everything in Sunshine feels super half-baked.
Mhm.
There's that speed nozzle. You don't have to use that a single time in the game.
Really?
There's not
Yeah,
a single required shine that requires that. Not one.
I remember when we got it, it was like, man, this is really cool. And then there wasn't a reason to use it.
Not terribly.
I honestly don't even know if there's an optional shine that requires it, but like, and it has 120 shines still. It's just you get let's see, each level has 8, so that's 56. You get one at the start, that's 57, and then they each still have 100 coin thing, so that's 65. So the other 55 shines are just optional shit like the pachinko or the poison river or the fucking blue coins. And it so obviously was just uncooked because I don't see why they would have dropped the progression from 64 where it's like you can kind of pick what you're gonna do and there's gates at different points.
Yeah.
When in this one it's just like you did the first shine in that area, so the next area is now unlocked.
Yeah.
Just a weird game.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to climb my ranking of 3D Mario games when I play it with the 60 frames per second hack, but it would be nice to play that game with an improvement like that. Because all the Nintendo collection, the Mario collection, the now vintage lost media.
Yeah, the Super Mario 3D collection.
That thing just runs at 4 times the resolution. That's it.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. They AI upscaled the cutscenes, the pre-rendered cutscenes for Sunshine in that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Holy shit. They look embarrassing.
Yeah, I remember
It's
it
like
looking
it's
wrong.
literally like it's literally looks it's like I took a putty knife, shoved it into a tub of Vaseline, and just rubbed it over the screen, and that's how those cutscenes look now. I was confused. I'm like, surely, guys, there's no way they looked like this on GameCube, right? And people were like, no, they didn't.
Yeah.
They looked normal. I also don't. This is minor, but like I hate how Mario feels in Sunshine.
Yeah.
Like he accelerates really hard and fast, and you don't have a huge amount of control in the air. It feels like not as much as other games.
No.
So something that would happen a lot is like, okay, I'm going to drop off this ledge onto this lower ledge. And it's like, you fool. Mario has far too much momentum to stop in 8 feet. Now he's going off the second ledge.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I disliked about the mobility in Sunshine is that I think one of the things that makes 64 and how it controls to me compelling is that we stopped at some point making games that instead of having a goal of being completely approachable from you have full control of everything at all points in time to like originally early N64, you see a lot of managing the 3D movement is the skill. Like being able to deal with how do I do the run up to the long jump to get maximum speed and then manage it in midair with tilts and shit. I feel like at some point that no longer became the goal. Like a lot of 3D platformers, even just PS2 gen, just start going into the long jump does a fixed distance. This other stuff has no controllability in these circumstances. Yeah, it's
Yeah, and also removing a lot of Mario's moves to put them on the hover pack instead is like, that sucks.
The only thing that doesn't suck about that is the punch in Mario was always bad and everyone always knows it. So that's why when Galaxy brings in the spin, I'm like, they did it. They solved it. They went Crash got one thing right.
it didn't. I didn't like. I kind of just flew through the game. I think partially because I had played Super Cream 64 recently, and the hover in that and the flight in Super Cream 64 work very similarly. So I just feel like it's that Invincible meme where Omni-Man is pointing at the planes and going, "Look at what they need to mimic a fraction of our power." But it's Cream pointing at Mario with the flood.
Yes. Cream is so powerful.
But that was Mario 64. I mean Mario Sunshine. It was a lot worse than I expected it to be, being brutally honest.
Understandable.
Let's talk about something I liked even less. I tried Moonscar. That is a game that is a 2D Souls-like platformer. It looks exactly like every other 2D Souls-like platformer.
You set it up.
Me talking specifically Dead Cells, Blasphemous, Death's Reprise, I think is what that other one is called. Where it's just like it's a 2D Souls-like. We added roguelike elements to it because I guess it wasn't oppressive enough. Where like your levels are now tertiary, everything you can do beyond your magic and your normal attack, your special attack is now also tertiary. Activating like the bonfire requires you to give up your special attack and then fight a doppelganger of yourself with it to get it back.
Wow, that wasn't in the demo. God.
And indie devs, stop it. If you want to copy Dark Souls mechanics, go right ahead. That's how we get better games. Just ripping off the mechanics of other games and changing or improving upon them is somehow some of the greatest games ever made happened. Stop trying to be Soulsy. Just stop it. Your game doesn't have to be a gothic fantasy in a doomed world. It's like, what if instead of souls, it was salt? What if instead of souls, it was clay? What if you had a fucking idea?
I like that most of them don't even go that far. They're just like, it's souls.
It's like, here's your hub area you teleport to that NPCs will show up at until they leave to go through their doomed fates. And I'm like, no. I was about to say no other game series has people who copy it that hard. But I'm wrong. Zelda is the only other one I can think of that has people copy it that hard. Although nowadays people try to copy both in the same game. Tunic. Death's Door, which I actually liked, so I'm not going to rag on it. Because Death's Door was like, okay, we'll be funny and have charming things, like you're a bird and there's Pothead and
yeah, Death's Door like has all those things where it's like just over that edge of you can feel the game that would have been the knockoff of Dark Souls that was awful, and they took out all those mechanics and made a good game.
And what's great about, like, as Chris is talking about the tone of all these games being the same, we're like, oh, it's medievalist gothic horror and everything's very depressing. I'm like, okay, did you play Dark Souls? Because that's like the setting, and all of the interesting stuff is the weird shit that's playing off of that.
Right.
Yeah, but they never do that. I mean, this game goes as far as to like not really having a stat system or a level system, and where I'm like, it's so weird how like Dark Souls fans have this incredibly weird idea of like, no, you have to be an honorable Giga Chad 1v1 the boss with no clothes and dual wielding your katana, and then you go watch like huge Dark Souls speedrunners or whatever, and they're like, okay, so here's how you cheese the boss entirely intentionally, no exploits, it just makes them fall on their ass and cry. Because Dark Souls always felt more like a tabletop type thing, like being put into a game, where it's like, no, you can exploit the shit out of this guy if you're smart.
Absolutely, 100%.
But all these knockoffs never seem to get that part of it. And I'm sorry, indie devs, but I don't care about the lore of your doomed world that you give to me through item descriptions. I don't care. It's impossible for me to care.
They're like, look at Chris next time.
What if there was a character, hear me out, with 9 balls?
You know, I want to be very clear on a gameplay level here. If I'm playing your 3D survival action game that has dangerous areas and safe areas, and the action ramps up and back down, sure, I will take time when going through the menu, and I'll craft this and I'll read that. That's when I want to read your shit. At no point during your platformer, your 2D platformer, do I want to go into the menu to read shit.
Yeah.
Ever.
Fair.
Also, if you're going to make these games, you have to feel at least as good as Dead Cells. That's a new rule.
It's part of certification.
I get that as a high bar, but you got to do it.
Dude, that's what we call having standards. Like, fucking, you need to hit that. Absolutely.
And I also played one other thing. Valkyrie Elysium came out.
Yes, I also got to play some of this.
Oh, shit.
But not a ton.
I did not.
I
I have Saturday off from streaming, so obviously my plan is to just beat it in one sitting on Saturday.
Oh, obviously.
It doesn't appear to be very long, so you might be able to do that. Most play times are saying 15 to 20.
Yep. That's what I was going to say. Like, most of them are that. Yeah.
This game is obviously budget, but I don't really care because it's fun.
Cool.
That's an amazing thing. Like, it lets you do fun things. Like, you unlock the ability to follow up your snatch, your tether that pulls you to the enemies with a quick attack that will pull small enemies into the air, and you can keep hitting them. And then it did this thing shortly after I got this where I'm like, okay, platform along this ruined dock. And it spawned a bunch of archers in like a uneven line. So what I could do was tether to one, hit it a couple times. His ass is now off the dock above the water. And then I snatch the next one, do it again. I just go through all of them, and they all get dropped in the water, and I get all their loot and shit. I'm like, that was fun. Thank you, Valkyrie Elysium. Yeah, it's fun that they have, like, you can change how long you want your summons to be out, which changes how much magic they use.
Oh, shit.
Be like, do you want them out for 15 seconds? Do you want them out for 30, or do you want them out for 60?
That's a really cool system.
So you can set, like, your high damage burst one to, like, real short to use almost as like an assist in a fighting game, and you can set the swordsman who actively runs around and fights enemies to like a whole minute.
Nice.
They also fix the problem a lot of these games have where it's like nothing good is ever in chests. Where it's like you can find health and gauge upgrades in chests. So exploring really feels rewarding. And they also have that system where you need materials to upgrade your abilities or your weapons. And they don't do the thing I always hate where once you hit the obvious, okay, this is the next tier that requires a new thing that you haven't seen yet. It isn't that long before you start to get it. They don't do the thing a lot of shitty games do where it's like an hour before you start seeing this material. You've plateaued for so long. They've also pretty consistently introduced new enemies.
That's not something I would expect, given its budget, you know?
Yeah, it seems like the game's not super long. The levels look all right, but they're not like, you know, it's like, oh, the world's already ended. So we don't have to like populate these areas with distinct looking NPCs. It's just monsters. So they can have a decent number of them. So I've been having a pretty great time. I've gotten I played like 4 or 5 hours and I'm like, oh, I'm a third through. I guess it isn't as long as, and that's carrying off the demo. So I was like, 6 or 7 hours. And then of course I'm doing all the side quests because I have a brain disease. And if I don't do the side quest, the little voice in my head says, why'd you fucking spend the money then?
At least it like tells you what the side quests will give you. And a lot of times it's actually something you want. Like they have side quests specific to characters, like your Einhander. Harrier. God.
Yeah, your Ein Harrier.
Holy
So
shit!
I did one that gave me a new weapon.
To my side,
My noble Einhander.
You done fucked up now.
The ultimate secret Ein Harrier is the Ein Harrier spaceship.
Hell yes, it's time.
You get a rival battle very early, and she's cool. I wish the only thing I wish is I had like a button to swap my spell loadout, because hitting enemy weaknesses is a big part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But I feel like it's doing a little bit of the no. Well, you can fight them a couple times and know what enemies are here and swap like that, so it's not really a big deal.
Yeah, and you can't pause it and swap it like that. It's just I wish they could do the same thing for weapons, because you only have 2 weapons equipped at once, and it feels like they give you like 6 or 8 or something. And a lot of enemies have weaknesses as those too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have 4 right now, and one of them was the deluxe, digital deluxe. I was gonna buy it physically, and it's like it's not getting here till today. It would have been here today, and I'm like, no, I'm sorry. But yeah, I'll probably be done with it by the next big thing to mention, because again, it doesn't seem to be very long. I'm really happy action games are back. We had the slightly less happy version of it with Solstice last week, and now we have the slightly happier version of Valkyrie Elysium this year.
Huzzah.
I mean, this week. Let's hope we can continue bringing back action games. Let's hope Gungrave Gore can really carry it forward.
Yeah, that and God, I keep wanting to say Devil's Third 2, but it's Wanted Dead.
I mean,
Yeah,
it is
Wanted
Devil's
Dead.
Third 2, to be fair.
But that's everything I played.
This is my first time getting to write this into the current topic section. Hey, Bob.
Hey, Dan.
Did you play anything?
I did a Steam Next Fest demo roundup.
That's right. We've entered the Steam Next Fest zone.
God, this thing snuck up on me.
This was bullshit. It was like a gremlin jumped out of a closet and shot me with a gun.
Yeah, I would have beaten Valkyrie Elysium or played more Overwatch. Instead,
I was like, well, at least some of these games are only registering medium interest for me. And then the fucking Danilo game. I can't remember the name of the studio, but the people made Blazing Chrome.
oh yeah.
They put the demo up for their game, and I'm like, why are you doing this? Come on, man.
But yeah, it just snuck out on Monday. Saw it before we started streaming Pokemon. I was like, I guess that's my week.
Jesus Christ. So, Bob, what did you play?
First game up, Vengeful Guardian Moonrider.
Dude, he's riding the moon.
This is intensely inspired by stuff like Hokkaider and Zyram, which if you even look at or listen to that title, it's very much like Mechanical Violator, Hokkaider, but
Yes.
yeah, and you play as a robot samurai. You fight monsters with like weird Asian lady faces and stuff like that.
Let me see if I can.
Reminds me a lot of Hagane, the Final Conflict on Super Nintendo. A great game nobody has played because they decided to make it Blockbuster exclusive in America.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I haven't even played it.
I think we played it on a stream once.
Yeah, maybe something
Dr. O
like that.
plays it. And that makes me really happy seeing anyone play it.
It plays a lot like Shinobi 3. Like, you do the same sort of you slow walk normally, but you can run. The run has a special melee hit.
I was gonna say like who put a Mega Man UI on a Shinobi game?
I know, right? Look at that.
That UI, that's your health and your magic meter, so you have like a magic attack. So you apparently get like several throughout the game. The only one that gives you for the demo is like just generic blast sort of thing. Nothing too fancy. But it seems like there will be a lot more. And you have the flying jump kick. It feels really good and looks amazing. This game is going to be great. It's an incredibly short demo, so I have almost nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
Other than, hey, this guy sure does love Zyram. God, I wish I could. Keita Amiya, I think is the name of the director. And it feels heavily inspired by all his work.
The director of Zyram.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. What's the next thing?
Gunbrella.
Okay.
This is something we saw from Devolver Digital events, I believe, throughout the summer. So we've seen images of this before. You play as it's a side-scrolling 2D game. You play as a guy who has a umbrella that's a gun, and you can like dash using the umbrella. So you can dash up and then float down with it. And the controls was on controllers do analog stick, so you move with the left stick and shoot or aim with the right, which feels awful to me. I hate playing 2D games with an analog stick though, so take that as you will. I played it with PC, mouse, and keyboard. That felt pretty great.
So wait, which part feels awful?
Using the left analog stick to move your character in 2D.
Okay.
It just feels super weird.
Yeah, I don't see any reason you couldn't map that to the D-pad unless they had mechanics around it like Smash does.
No, the only thing is they were like, well, the D-pad's going to cycles through your, I believe it cycles through your weapon types and your healing items. Like, you could put that on the analog stick. You could do it.
Yeah, it seems like they never want to do that. Like, they're like, it'll be too imprecise. And it's like, being imprecise with that is worse than my movement?
Yes.
A lot of people grew up with Xboxes and just think of the analog stick as the primary input.
Yeah, it really broke from brains as far as 2D games go. This game's really wordy. Like, it has a story to tell, and it can't do that in under 12 paragraphs.
Ooh.
So, other than that, it was fun. But then it's like, here, go through this town, talk to everyone, solve a puzzle. It's like, I don't want to do that in your action-based side-scrolling game. I really don't.
Okay.
It has some neat mechanics around using the umbrella. Like, you see that rope above me in the picture.
Yeah.
If you umbrella onto the rope, he like slides across it super fast.
Does he just go whichever way you're looking, or will the verticality of the rope affect it? Will I slide to the left if I jump on that rope?
Whichever direction you're holding. So
okay,
yeah,
so
you can change
it's just
direction.
a rail I'm grinding in a Tony Hawk game.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Either would be cool, but that's neat.
Yeah, the guns feel like they have a ton of impact. So the guys you shoot with, they just explode. It seems like instead of getting new guns, you're going to pick up, like, you have infinite shotgun ammo, but enemies can drop like assault rifle ammo, and that's more long range.
Then a shotgun? No way.
Yeah, I know, right? That's really all I have to say about it. It seems neat. I might pick it up, but only on PC. Because of that controller thing. The next game I played was Undecember.
Wake me up when Undecember ends.
It's Diablo-like.
What?
Yeah, it's just straight up, I want to be Diablo. I believe it's Korean or something. It's got really bad imagery construction, so the whole screen just looks like nonsense in movement. This is a picture straight from the Steam page.
I just need to explain why I'm like. It's funny anytime anyone who isn't me says that, because that's the background radiation of my life. So I just stopped saying it nowadays.
Yeah, it's so egregious. You can't turn it off either. I went and looked for options to turn it off. It doesn't exist. It just looks hideous. Like, every time your character moves, there's an outline you see around them that's just gray goo. It seems like it has a ton of mobile games things, and I looked it up. This game is on mobile as well.
That explains it. Okay.
So then I stopped playing it.
Wow.
You made a good choice today, Bob.
Amazing how that works.
Next game, 9 Years of Shadow. This is another one we saw at various events throughout the summer. It's pretty cool. Metroid-like, where he plays this girl with a purple dress and it has a halberd.
Nice.
It's basically the story of it is the world's had its color sucked away, and you go in this castle to where that originated and find a creature who then makes the world colorful again. And you're trying to kill monsters in this castle. It's another one where it's like, well, left analog stick controls the character. Suck it. It's like, what are you doing? There's no reason for that. You know, you can use the right analog stick to aim your little teddy bear that follows you around and shoot.
You use the right analog stick to aim that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess that was their idea of, like, we made a game where you use the right analog stick to aim, so obviously it's left to move.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of engines by default, like, you know, these popular like Unity and other engines, made the analog stick the default movement.
Right.
So that, I think it's mostly that in a lot of cases.
This game's really glitchy. I shouldn't have put this demo out.
Okay. Do you know about when they're aiming to ship this? Do they have anything announced or?
I did not double check the date. I
Okay.
believe it's on there. I thought it was this year, but I might be totally wrong.
What was the name again?
9 Years of Shadow.
Okay. I'll check it while you talk about it.
Sometimes background areas just won't load in. Like you'll see foreground objects and still move around the environment, but there's just nothing in the background. It's just blank.
This is supposed to come out in the next 2.5 months.
Oh my God. Oh, this is bad. The other thing that's way worse than that, this game is unplayable because sometimes the magic bar stops regenning.
What?
It just stops working. Like that's a mechanic where as you hit enemies, you're supposed to get magic back. That stopped working.
Oh,
There are different puzzles in just basic mechanics of you need to shoot a door with magic to open it. It's impossible to beat this.
There's got to be like a mechanic you don't know, right?
It seemed to just break halfway through each time. Like I'd play it, it seemed completely normal, and then that mechanic just stopped working.
That's really unfortunate.
I'm like, and then when the background stopped loading, I was like, yeah, this game ain't done. This is not ready for public to be playing.
Yeah, it's supposed to come out Q4 this year.
Wow.
Yeah, next 2.5 months. So.
That's worrying. Otherwise, the art looks great.
Yeah, I'm seeing it. That's beautiful.
Like attacks with your halberd feel fine. You have a
Cool.
backdash.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it would be really cool. Push it back, man. The next game I played.
This is like an indie PC thing. Maybe it's really easy for them to just go, we need more time to cook.
Yeah, maybe. I did not check if it's coming to console. Next game I played is Scars Above. We saw teasers for this at E3 events, and it looked a lot higher quality than
which
It
Gears
sure
mobile game is this?
Fucking did.
Bob, this is your PC's fault.
I don't even think so. This is just, it runs at like 120 frames per second on medium graphics. Like these are medium. I didn't take it up to ultra.
The environment looks good. I like some of the aspects of the environment. Some parts of it.
But, yeah, I don't. Yeah,
But you know.
every part of the environment is like, oh man, that looks. Oh wait, what's happening?
I don't know. That environment kind of looks like that game with the wolf you brought in a couple of weeks ago with RTX turned on.
Yeah, it does. Jesus Christ. So this is a third-person shooter, Souls-like.
Okay, so it's wait, Souls like I was thinking Returnal, but it's like no, Souls.
It
not
obviously
Rogue.
wants to be Returnal.
It kind of has Returnal vibes, Bob. Can you?
It has a little bit of that as far as like, this aesthetic and stuff, because you are woman stranded on alien planet. She doesn't know what's happening, and she's also too dense to realize anything. She's a scientist going around like narrating heavily whenever you kill something, scan it, and learn about it. And at the same time, she's like, what do you mean I'm finding crew members that have say stuff about, or crew log to say that they've been off the ship for years? We only left them an hour ago.
Imagine entering space, and when anything fucky happens with time being, oh, that doesn't make any sense. How could that happen?
I'm sorry. Anything that happens after uttering the phrase, I have found a strange alien cube,
Right?
is up for fucking grabs.
I know this is a character who is using gigantic alien pillars that glow is her bonfires and respawning at them, and she's still having reactions like this.
All right.
So that's something. But it is the Souls, like I said, there's bonfires you go between that are these big cubes, pillars, whatever. You get new types of ammo for your gun, and it seems like you don't have a level up system. You just have these different items and skill trees you fill out. So the skill tree will be like, oh, you now take less damage, you have more health, you can reload faster, that sort of thing. It seems okay. It plays fine. Like, you actually don't have a target lock. It's all third-person shootery, so you just have a melee attack that hits in front of you, and then you just literally aim with your gun. You do not have a jump. You have a dodge roll.
No jump.
Most things poison you,
Yeah, that's really weird that there's no jump.
and then you don't get a poison like antidote until halfway through the demo. And I was like, this should have been earlier. Everything looks really plain, and looking at this character, all I can think of is that she's an Unreal Asset Store character. Like, she's so plain. She is woman wearing tank top and pants. You don't get that backpack until a little while into the demo. Even that's like, okay, it's just generic sci-fi.
She does have like Division NPC face.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank God you arrived. They almost took the food so they could survive.
Yeah, it's kind of neat, but I'm not too excited. Next game, The Time I Have Left. This is a really weird, like, survival horror / JRPG PS1 era game inspired thing.
It's got I'm getting Killer 7 vibes from back here.
That's fair.
Does it play Rave On?
No.
Damn.
It does have some pretty neat songs though. Like the music is it's hard to describe, but it definitely feels like that era of PS1 music.
Okay.
Yeah, it's neat. It's set in the sci-fi city. Everyone else is gone, and it's unclear as to where they went. It sounds like there might have been some sort of disease outbreak that killed everyone, but there's just no one here. You find urns and stuff. The old game has a time limit of 6 hours. And it's got a really weird mechanic where you get pulled into another dimension where these monsters are like, yeah, you're going to die in 6 hours, lady. And the random battles are literally cracks on the ground that if you walk into, she falls in and then does a random encounter battle. The only problem is these random battles are awful. Like, the mechanics on them are just the worst.
Are they turn-based?
Kind of.
Oh.
No. That sure is an ingredient to making the worst.
It might be fine.
Okay.
So you stand there while the enemy does his attacks, and you have to dodge them by doing horrible dodging animations, like hit the left button. You will dodge to the left. It takes like half a second at least to do your dodge animation, and you have to time it up with when the enemy's attack comes in.
Oh no.
So, wait. Okay. The way my brain's constructing this is in Super Mario RPG, you can hit the B button at the right time to do a defense against an attack. And it's based on a certain number of frames for the availability of that input right before they hit. Is this just the Nightmare 3D version of that?
Yes, it's absolutely inspired by that.
Okay.
You even get a block that works in much the same way, but you need to time even more precisely with this animation that she does, which is awful. And
Cool.
there's only one enemy type in this whole demo. You just see him over and over again, and the battles take forever because it's like, dodge him 3 times in a row. You don't have an attack. You have to just keep dodging.
Are you sure this isn't a survival horror?
It feels like it is. But the worst way they could have done it.
Awesome.
I like the character design from what I'm seeing here.
Yeah,
between
no.
the awesome jacket, hair, and leggings with neon trail.
Yeah, no, the character designs, the environments all look really gorgeous.
Yeah, the environments do look gorgeous.
Yeah,
I'm kind of surprised this is how it looks on your PC, not trying to insult.
Oh, yeah, no, it runs at like 40 frames a second on my PC.
Okay,
There's basically not much you can do to adjust the graphics setting in this game.
They're like, fuck you, this is our vision.
The back of her jacket depicts like her health left. You have a mechanic.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Always love that shit.
It's like fucking Dead Space.
I thought like maybe her neon pink ass line would just get lower and lower.
Actually, her pants disappear. It's a Bayonetta situation.
You go into like rest areas to regain the health, but then it takes time. And, you know, there's a 6-hour time limit. Like, really, an actual timer is going down as you play this game. So it's really a lot of neat mechanics that wrap around. Unfortunately, they ruined it by having this awful battle system.
And what was the name of this one again?
This one was The Time I Have Left.
Just need to know when it's coming out, because everything about this except for that combat has me really hyped.
Do you know what's up when 6 hours ends? Do you just like 6 hours? Do you get what you get? Do you
It
play
sounds
the game
like you just
again
die.
to optimize? Do you try to get to an ending or?
I assume you try and get to an ending because the whole thing is escaping this city.
So
it's underground, but unclear if it's in space.
this game comes out next year on PC.
Okay.
So there's time.
There is time. Hopefully they
To
figure
rip out
something
the
out.
entire combat system.
Yes. There is one attack that you can get. It seems random for when you get it. Like you dodge enough attacks, enough turns go by, and eventually a button that says interact appears, and she runs over and kicks a pillar over that just appears in the area, and it falls on top of the enemy and they die.
Oh,
It's like, what is any of this? But that game's really cool, and I hope that they fix it.
neat.
It also has a bunch of adventure game elements of like, okay, you're trying to solve this mystery and you need to find, like, look at this table and find all the clues on it and pick up the items that you're going to use in some other area. That sort of stuff, like mist things. Next game, Wave Tail. This is a cel-shaded 3D platformer. The characters all have animations like Mega Man Legends, where they have the faces they're painted on. They like go between different animations on them. It looks really nice.
Good.
You said animations like it. I was like, this is keyframed at 15 frames per second. What the fuck do you mean?
no,
Animations
no.
like, but that's cool. You know, been thinking about that recently while playing Pokemon Sun and Moon. Just how cool it is to do face stamps for expressions.
Yeah, no, it's always great. This has really great art style. It has no PC setting adjustments, so I couldn't get this to change anything.
Bob, do not compromise their vision.
Luckily, it is coming to consoles. I was worried that they just made a PC game with literally no options.
That'd be a little unhinged. Just a little.
I'm not sure why she uses a net as her main weapon, but she does. It can be used like as a grappling hook and also just to hit enemies. And the whole main mechanic is there's a weird monster under the water who stands opposite of you, so you can stand on her feet and like sail and surf around the water. It's actually a lot of fun to control. You like start going really fast, and the demon swims under the water, and she stands on her back. And you get lots of double jumps off of that, and it feels good to go around the environments. And in the demo, all you really do is go around this one large area and collect their equivalent of a power star.
You gotta collect the blue coins. What was the name of this one again?
Wave Tail.
I just, for some reason, every time he says it, my brain's like, yeah, that was probably on the Disney block at some point in time.
It's all one word. It's T-A-L-E, not T-A-I-L.
What about T-A-Y-L-E?
Yeah. Is it that?
No.
You sure?
No.
That much has become a thing.
T-A-H-E-E-L?
Tail.
But yeah, I think this is really cool looking. I'll almost certainly pick it up whenever it comes out on console. My PC can run it mostly.
I think mine might be able to do it after I, insert a whole nother PC into it that they're calling a graphics card.
Right? God.
Okay, I just have to uninstall literally everything else. My PC's becoming one of our unhinged Armored Core mech builds.
Yes, it's becoming crap.
Take off the arms.
Duct taping shotguns to it.
And the last game I played, Cassette Beasts. This is a Persona / Pokemon inspired RPG. It's got a 3D background, so we use a bunch of really 8-bit-ish art or 16-bit-ish art to try and make them look 3D. So kind of like Pokemon on DS era. And then the characters are just 2D. But you go around this world, you collect monsters by using your cassette tape to record them as you attack them. It's really confusing. It's very much like trying to be a Pokeball, but it's just no, it's got to be different.
I don't want to collect Pokemon. I just want to hear them scream.
Distant Mr. Mime yelling.
You actually transform into the monster after you record them. So you really are not collecting them. You are recording their voices as they die.
Identity theft is a serious crime, Bob.
It's me, your dog, Aggro.
My dog's name isn't Aggro.
Bark. Both.
You also build up relationships with other party members, like you see the other character in the party here.
I don't know which one's you, so I don't know which one's the other.
I am the blue-haired character in
Okay.
this. You get to heheavily customize your own character, like to a pretty intense degree.
The moment you said I'm the blue hair character, I just assumed. Like, I guess they let you choose that, huh?
But yeah, it has persona-like leveling up the relationships between characters and unlock more abilities as you level it up.
You know, when you say persona style leveling up, all I can think of, because my brain's broken, I'm like, SMT leveling up is just, that means when the song is so fucking compressed, it's blowing your speakers. SMT5's level up, the song is so good. But okay, that's cool. That's cool.
And-
What are the benefits of leveling up, like your relationships or whatever?
They didn't show it till the very
Okay.
end, but it was like, oh yeah, your summons last longer or something like that. It was minor upgrades to when you were working together with them. It wasn't anything like crazy, like here's a new attack or something.
Okay.
But you do unlock the ability to do fusions. I'm not sure exactly what will cause this, because it happens in a story event. I don't know if that's gonna how it's gonna be for every character you get.
Uh-huh.
But you actually, the two monsters you choose individually fuse into a completely unique monster. So I assume there aren't going to be that many monsters in this game, because that seems like a lot of work to do to like combine these. Which, although they do kind of look like they're combined on that Pokemon Combiner website. I'm just like, yeah, I was a bat, she was a snake.
I was a bat boy, she was a skater girl.
She was a snaker girl.
And so it plastered the wings on the snake in a weird way.
That's hilarious. I thought it was going to be something a little bit cooler, like Breath of Fire 2, but guess not.
No.
That's about when I dropped out of Breath of Fire 1. They're like, we're going to give you 8 more characters. Don't worry, shove them together and they can all stay in your party.
You
Like,
could assemble them into one piece.
bro, I don't want to be a half fish man. I'm out.
But yeah, it seems neat. It's got a interesting vocal soundtrack going on, so that was also kind of cool.
I've heard from weird Nintendo fans that that's bad.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Also, when you collect certain monsters, you get overworld abilities. Like when you collect the the moth. You can then do gliding moves in the overworld to get to new areas. But that was cool, and that was my demo roundup.
Cool. Did you play anything else, Bob?
No.
Oh, really? You didn't play anything else?
Not really.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, fuck. You know what that means, right?
We need to vamp for a
fuck.
few more seconds.
Okay. We can just... Oh, wait, no. It is, in fact, time for the Podlords.
Oh, fuck.
Yes, that's right. The Podlords. Podlords such as E. Lee Broyles, Corey Brown, getting jump scared by British people in the pharmacy isekai, Red Blaze 27, Suzu Shiro, Emperor Zero, Shibuya Gato, Rado, 101 Shades of Wonderful Remastered, WTF, Spider-Man, Somewhere Else in This Hell-Ridden Multiverse, a constant, by the way, no matter where in the multiverse, there is a bad Sony CEO right now.
God damn it. That math checks out.
BN12. Bob Team Epic Beware wants you to know if you have games on your phone and or the nearest Asian street food vendor. Only hungry for Asian street food or phone games. I relate to this beast. DFW 3K. Leth, shortly after joining the Armored Core lobby.
I don't know what happened.
I don't understand. I joined the lobby and my TV went out. Technically, I'm not a liar. My TV stopped working.
Remembered what boss he was about to have to fight.
Shiny Mew. Kristen. My HD Retro Vision cables came in, which means I can finally replay Pure K-Word with VRR enabled. Kyle Bjork. Iron Aggro. Blig de Blue. Schligda's Poo. Monster Hunter. Ryzen and Raiden. Studio ZAUM equipping the ultra-liberal thought and failing the skill check against Corpo Brainrot. Dan, during Armored Core Month.
Aww.
I'm a fandom of continuing to wish upon those who ruin game wiki sites a very die. Parody. Satire.
Relatable.
Couldn't think of a bit, so Oreta Owari Subasa. Monty and Bellamy snuggled in a tent, listening to BDD. Indigo Sykes. ActiBliz just can't catch a break, can they? Good. No bit this week. Lament of Innocence is pretty dang sweet. Nah, that's true. One of the best performances in PS2 gaming cutscenes. You betrayed me! Yes. The Queen has fallen ho. Long live the King Frost he-ho. A raccoon just left this knife on the floor. Who knows who will pick it up? Shinji16 and Lexi want to remind you that you matter. You are valid, and you deserve to be happy. Me, every time I hear I really want to stay at your house in the distance in Cyberpunk 2077. The ideal school lunch.
Yes.
Hell yeah. I love having my, what is that, a cinnamon roll and an Asahi Dry?
Right? I love my half-size Asahi Dry.
Yes. Really helped me get through my school day.
It's like a Red Bull bottle of
Yeah. The Super Mim. The Hard M's Wii has died. Long live the Wii. I still have the Wii U. Sarlene. Timothy Pfister is bracing himself for the sales numbers of Star Ocean The Divine Force. Bearded Joe. Pleochrome. Krunglespum. Dear God, it's... I don't know. Is that a gamer? It's a human gamer guest.
What is that? Is that from that new Infinity set? I wish I could see the nameplate.
And finally becoming a podlord to thank the boys for all the years of content and to say hashtag free Lightning's toes.
Why?
Thank you very much to most of our podlords.
Don't be afraid of the way Lightning's toes make you feel.
And if you'd like to thank Lightning's Toes, you can go to our Patreon at patreon.com/gbpodcast. For as little as $5 a month, you get access to many benefits. Dan, put that image away. Such as early access to various podcasts that come out on a delay for free listeners. Extended armchair dev pitches and gamer premonitions when those ideas forced to leave ideas on the cutting room floor, and a patron exclusive show, one a month, where you get to vote on what good or bad thing we have to watch and then talk about. That's patreon.com/gbpodcast. And if you don't have any money, you can always help us immensely by spreading the word about our content. I don't know if YouTube has anything like rating. Nobody does. Nobody knows how YouTube works. Not even people who have used it their entire lives. That's patreon.com/gbpodcast.
If you're streaming on YouTube and a leprechaun and you have a pot of gold, as in anyone watching you streaming on YouTube, rate us. Here we have news.
Just want to make it very clear that we can still see the toad image.
Yeah, just to be clear, they're still looking at him. We have news. Gamer news.
Oh no.
That's right. These news stories say the gamer word.
They do not.
Not usually, no. Hey, those hooks in Spider-Man on PC, they've been activated. That shit can hook up to your PlayStation Network account. And they reward you for hooking that shit up to your PlayStation Network account.
Huh.
They give you like some points early for skill points and some other things. And it's like, it just sounds like it doesn't transfer my save, though.
Say like cross save?
Doesn't seem to.
Trophies?
So sounds like you're not a real gamer if you get those free skill points.
This isn't true, Spade. Thank you, Kingpin. Yeah.
It's not about the skill points, Spider-Man.
It is about the trophy stuff. I don't know why mine's Peter Griffin.
If you zoom in on me anymore, I will basically be Spider-Verse Kingpin.
I just hold the shift key stretch wide.
I get another shirt this color, like on a board behind me.
Yes, it is, Spider-Man. Yeah, as much of a TikTok is a nightmare, I noticed that YouTube Shorts is just Family Guy clips. That's all it seems to ever be. It's a fucking nightmare.
Maybe you should stop watching Family Guy clips on YouTube Shorts. I can't. My YouTube Shorts are full of like facts about historical arms and armor and Family Guy clips.
Yeah, mine are like cooking videos.
Look, mine's Legal Eagle, a couple cooking video things, and then Family Guy clips. YouTube Shorts as an institution is built on the bones of 1,000 Family Guy clips. But yeah, this is interesting, and it's worth bringing up at this point in time. Okay, I'll stop. I'll put Toad away for us. There,
okay, thank you.
We don't have to look at Toad anymore. We're done. They didn't have to look at it, so now we don't have to. Anyways, Sony's live service game initiative is Jim Ryan's been upfront about this. When they make one of those, it's launching on PC and PlayStation simultaneously, which is amazing because that's a level of getting a clue I don't expect from Sony.
Right. I
expect them to be like, no, you need to come to our platform to play Twisted Metal, half of a game edition. So obviously they needed to get that hook working at some point. I'm glad they did it ahead of time. God knows. Launching your free-to-play live service game is a little complicated servers-wise.
What do you mean, Dan? What could possibly go wrong?
We didn't talk once about Overwatch 2's 20,000 player queue to get in.
Yep.
Which was 30,000 at one point.
It was literally just leave it on, go do something else for 30 minutes, and you might be in.
Yeah, I know.
Now you know how Final Fantasy 14 players felt.
Me as fucking Walter at the end of fucking Lament of Innocence. No!
Except you weren't racing against being spoiled on an 8-year-long story by the internet.
Yeah. No, that adds some extra levels for fucking sure of like, let me in, goddammit. And you can hear them at your front door. Hey, have you seen the thing? Hello? You gonna let me in? I want to talk to you about the game. God damn it.
Oh, go away, you freak.
That's interesting. If I had it on PC, I would just check it out just to check it out. I don't know. If I end up with one of those GPUs, I might just buy Spider-Man on PC just to see DLSS 3.0 working, because that game has it integrated.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I need to see how upset I am by how it looks. Let's get today's news out of the way. The major news of today. Platinum Games CEO Inaba.
I have killed before, I will kill again.
Direct quote.
You can't stop me. Nothing will stop this.
No.
Feels extremely sorry about Babylon's Fall for Platinum Games fans. He's frustrated he couldn't comment on it earlier, but he assures you this changes nothing.
He's not sorry they did it. He's sorry the game shut down. He's like outside the bathroom with the knife. Like, I'm sorry I can't get in there with you.
Yeah, it's like in the same breath of saying, I'm sorry, I need to apologize, and I'm so disappointed in all these fans that might be disappointed in us, but we're gonna keep disappointing.
It's just the fucking episode of China, Illinois. He's at the door holding the knife to stab him again. He's like, I'm sorry, I didn't take my medication. I was in a bad space. Can you forgive me? Opens door, stab. Yeah, no, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Every week, me and Bob go, oh, well, I hope that's the end of that shit. And Nava basically came out to say, that is in fact not the end of that shit. Nothing will end it except for all of us losing our jobs.
God, why is it that every CEO thinks that live service is a term that gamers want and not a term they want?
Because executive has become a class of person worldwide.
Yeah.
And they're insulated and they have brain rot.
It's like,
That is
look
also
at
true.
any online forum ever.
Like, this is so insufferable, because it's like, I would rather have a computer completely sociopathically devoted to profit. Because at least they would not see something profitable and go, no, that doesn't fit my biases of what profitable is.
Yeah, this sucks.
Yep.
I hope Bayonetta 3's good. We've
Yeah,
got
it's looking
some
like
leaks,
it might be the
but
last real game Platinum ever shipped.
that is entirely possible and scary.
Yep.
We got some leaks about Bayonetta 3. I'm not going to talk about it here for people who don't want to see it.
Yeah, there's also some Game Informer info that actually just came out.
Ooh. Did you see they were like, Yoko Taro is now permitted to make new games?
No, I didn't.
They made an official announcement to be like, we're really glad Nier Automata is coming to the Switch. Don't worry, everyone. We invented amazing AI technology that will allow Yoko Taro to make new video games again. I was like, I love this announcement. That's so good.
What do you mean?
That's the best way to announce that, of just, we had to advance technology itself to allow him to make new things instead of old things. Before getting to the Bayonetta 3 information that came out, because I assume that's in your news.
Yeah.
Okay. PS5's jailbroken. We referenced that earlier. Lance McDonald installed PT on it.
He did, because he's just an amazing person and he knows what everyone wants.
Yeah.
I'm going to read from an article. I understand none of this.
Okay. I might.
PlayStation modder Spectre dev unveiled the new jailbreak, an experimental IPv6 kernel exploit for the PS5. This jailbreak relies on a WebKit vulnerability as an entry point, so it will only work on PS5s running firmware 4.03 or lower. But I went to his Twitter, and that's like, this information is now probably out of date. Even then, apparently it only works around 30% of the time.
Yeah. For people keeping track, that's right. Time to take another shot of liquor. This is yet another console compromised by a WebKit-based browser. It's the sort of thing that makes you go, why do we always end up with these WebKit-based browsers in these consoles? The Vita is that. The Wii U, I'm pretty sure, is that. It happens time and time again. Hell, the fucking 3DS might be that. But if you wonder why they don't give you easy access to your browser anymore, this is why. Because it keeps happening. This is great news. I want to see Bloodborne running at a higher resolution, running at lock 60. 720p is a pretty low res. I would love to see it at 1080p, 1440p, 60.
I would love to just not be like, your frame pacing is wrong. It hurts my eyes.
Right.
This is exactly what, in the video game space, piracy is good for. If you won't fucking do it, we will do it for you.
Right.
So you can do it and take our money, or we can do it and it's free.
Right. No, that's true. That's absolutely what's up.
That's ultimately what most piracy comes down to.
Yes. So that's great news, and I'm tempted to get a spare PS5 because I would really like to see Bloodborne run well. And I'm sure someone will come up with some other fascinating things to do with this son of a bitch. I forgot to cover it last week. They updated the Uncharted Legacy Collection, or whatever they're calling it, the Nathan Drake Collection, on PS5, the one that is the PS4 games. They updated that shit, so now it's properly unlocked frame rates if you have a variable refresh rate TV. What it used to be is like the medium mode was 1440p and it would cap at 60. When you remove that cap, it runs at 90 to 100 frames per second. So there's no point in using the 1080p 120 hertz mode basically now, because that mode looks much nicer and runs really great. So that's great. I need to go back and play more of that. I bought it and I was like, this is going to be awesome for when we do an Uncharted month. Because people will vote for that, right?
Yeah, people would love to see an Uncharted month.
I think it would be really neat. I like Uncharted. I bet nothing can make me think Uncharted 1's a good video game, but at least having gone through Jack and Daxter now, I have a headspace to come from as I look at this game.
And we also have the entirety of the Gears franchise in our head now. It'd be like, hey,
where does this place? That is true. They're both just trying to make that fucking kill switch game. So now we get to see who wore it best. Yeah, Uncharted 4 is great. Uncharted 2 is great. 1 and 3? Lost Legacy? I don't know.
1 and 3 are together barely. It's like 1 and 3, but then you zoom out.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, that's a logarithmic chart. Wow, I didn't realize. Yeah, I also have not played Lost Legacy, so I need to do that. And I guess if there was ever an Uncharted month, that means we're playing the Vita one. Which will be
I feel like you're going to play Lost Legacy and be like, you sons of bitches. This is why there's that bad open world section in The Last of Us 2.
I mean, that's what Bob keeps saying, of like, they literally did this in the last Uncharted Legacy. And I was like, oh, so this is a Kurt Marganow joint, because Kurt actually directed.
When did Lost Legacy come out?
A year after 4, which is insane.
I was going to say, did they do that in 4 too? Have open world sections?
They did have larger open maps, but as I hear Bob and other people describe it, it's closer to the Last of Us 2, large open map but open world with more intricate stuff built into it. Because
I'm really afraid, Dan, that you're going to play Lost Legacy and be like, Gears 5 is a bad version of this.
I mean, it is.
I am certain that's going to be the case.
Like, that Gears 5 is the worst version of an open world monstrosity we've seen happen in one of these.
And we played a lot of fucking video games.
It's like, what if the open world had nothing?
I'm sitting there and I'm like, there's no world I should come to your video game and go, oh man, if only you landed it like Cameo.
It's legitimately strange how similar Gears 5's open world shit is to God of War 2018.
Yeah.
It really does feel like in the last year of that game's development, they're like, rip this off now. Go.
Yeah, they got that going. Moving on to actually new news. Halo Infinite Leaks Twitter account talks about a number of things that had been bubbling in the background for a while. That chunk of which was verified by another source, and then the Halo Infinite Twitter account just went, okay, we're going to just talk about the whole list now. Halo the Endless will be its own game. It is not connected to Halo Infinite. It will likely be built on Unreal Engine.
Oh, thank God.
Staten wants nothing to do with the vision of what Infinite was before he got there. What a surprise.
Common sense prevails.
Oh my God. This is going to be the last Halo game. All future Halo games will be based on this Halo. You know no one believes you when you say shit like this, right?
And there's a reason. It has never worked out.
Yeah.
So, this is great news. In my opinion, this is the best news that has come out about Halo since Halo 3 came out. Because in no world do I hear Halo ODSTs happening at $60, and I look at the screen and go, no? Like, that's not good news. Reach is a sad
Halo
thing.
Reach?
Halo Reach is an all right game, but it just was sad because
it's sad because they're leaving.
Right, and we knew that before even ODST came out.
Right, it's like this is their send off.
And then Halo 4 is really bad, and Halo 5 isn't a Halo game.
Yeah, and like that's the thing. This is actually the news. This is the flare gun I need to know there's a sign of life that way. To know that there is hope. And this has been the best news to come out in forever.
Yeah, because otherwise it feels like Halo Infinite went directly from live service game to live service game that's like Overwatch after 3 years when no content was being made.
Right, right. No, that's the thing. It has been there the whole time. You keep hearing Stanton talking about the difficulties of getting a live service team for a live service game up and running parallel. Also, this all makes a lot of sense when you hear all of the stories about how Microsoft wants their studios to run and what that meant for Halo Infinite. For people who are not familiar, Microsoft apparently at some level wants 343 to run most of the staff as contractors. They don't want to build a studio properly. Yes.
You're the biggest corporation in the fucking world.
Other people can somewhat get away with this, some of them. But here's the thing. They have been making Halo on the Slipspace engine, which is derivative from the original Halo engine.
Oh my God.
So they've had to train these contractors who are not long-term employees on how to make art and do all these other things in that engine. And then it's just all wasted time as they go, well, we're done with that contractor. Bye. We just wasted so much money and got nothing done. So them moving to Unreal Engine actually helps them do anything with this heinous paradigm they shouldn't legally be allowed to do.
and isn't good or efficient for long-term. Why?
Yeah.
Every level of these companies, like study after example after example of, if you would do this less horribly, it would be better for you, but I don't want to.
Yeah, I'd rather have human suffering than profit.
Yeah. Like at some level, it doesn't matter if it costs them money. The important thing gained through that paradigm is the lack of stability for the lower and middle class. Like at some level, that's the only effective gain from that paradigm. But anyway,
they probably also don't have to offer health benefits.
Well, yeah, of course. That's what I just said.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it looks like the cheaper option on paper to a moron.
Yes.
Please see executive class.
Yes. But yeah, so at least moving to Unreal Engine will make that workforce a lot more productive. Burning Halo Infinite to the ground will make a lot of things more solvable from a content side. That you can tell if you play Halo Infinite, and I'm tired of being polite, have a fucking brain. That they struggled to get the very small amount of polished AAA experience in that game in working at all. That game it clearly was a nightmare to get that on that engine. Because the way they altered the original engine, the scope and everything else, where they're like, it can now run an open world. It's like, cool, can we do a Halo set piece? And they're just like, And you can tell because look at what they premiered the game with. Look what they debuted it with. That terrible open world mission that's just like, I'm going to walk up to a console and a man who's a hologram is just going to talk at me and act cool. And it's not going to be cool. And the mission's going to be pretty lame.
What are you talking about, Dan? The mission was riding an elevator. Isn't that cool?
It was very cool, and they did the majestic look at the environment part, but they forgot the environment needs to look good for that to land. Anyway, as I said, this is great news. Here are the actual threats. They still don't give them enough time, and it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Because up until now, Halo has done a pretty okay job feeling correct. Even when they did ADS, it still felt correct.
Yeah, and it being built on that old engine probably let them kind of cheat that a lot of like, okay, this is how it's supposed to feel.
Yeah.
And we know that from
you
this.
you just get borrowed code at that point.
Yeah.
Like there's no point in replacing all that shit. So there's a real threat when you remake everything from the ground up in Unreal. I would like to note the part where not only do they have the contractor labor force and the Unreal Engine making them more effective, they're still going to be paying Epic like 20, 30% of all of their money. So it's like, if you just fucking hired people to work at 343 on a fucking video game,
Yeah.
you could have stuck with the Slip Space engine, maybe.
It's a video
it's
game
fine.
in the most
it's fine.
recognized franchise you own.
At one point, Halo was second to only Mario and Zelda, right? That is not the case anymore. Anyone with a functioning brain can tell you that. Anyone without a weirdly green profile image on Twitter can tell you Halo has fallen out of grace with the larger gaming community. I think that's unfortunate, and I have a lot of hope for the next game to bring it back. Because the Endless is a cool idea, which is why it made it even worse that they weren't in the game.
Yep.
Spoilers for Halo. What little story there is there. Here's this idea. Credits roll. Anyway, let's move on. Hey, Bob.
Hey.
I hear Dead Space Remake is going to be $70.
Yes, Dead Space Remake released a trailer this week. It's $70.
Cool, but it looks better than the original, right?
It looks different.
I hope it looks better. I haven't checked out this trailer.
It looks fine. Those graphics look nice. Just do not open up Callisto Protocol next to it. Ever.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Please don't do that.
Yeah, I just watched that trailer like, yeah, this is Dead Space 1 remade. Amazing.
They did it.
They did it.
This is what you wanted, and you got it.
This better be able to run at fucking 60 FPS.
Yeah, the trailer is at 30.
Oh.
Like
I did not realize.
Like Dead Space has the stupid fucking everything's tied to the frame rate. It can't. Even with the weird layer that the Series X has, it cannot force that game to be 60.
Mm-hmm.
So if this doesn't run at 60, what's that's like one of the biggest things.
Yeah, no, if they're literally building this on the old code or something and they can't change that, then they shouldn't have made it.
I find it unlikely that they're building this on the original code.
Yeah,
that
that's
would be
insane. That would be like calling it a remake and then doing that is no, that's not allowed.
You got any other news, Bob?
Bloober Team announces that they want to turn the medium into a TV show.
I'm gonna ask a favor of everybody in this call. Can we just move on to the next bullet point?
After one joke.
Okay.
Creative director, low tier god.
Okay. Bayonetta 3 is on the cover of Game Informer. They did a little bit of info on it. I read some of the article. At some point, the article just goes into, I'm now going to step by step tell you how the first mission goes. It's like, I don't care to read that in Game Informer. I'm sorry.
Right?
This is like the cool action set pieces. I don't need to read text about this.
We were talking about how much it used to be a skill set in gaming journalism to
Yes.
just like really wax poetic about 10 minutes of a video game you played in a closed room.
Yeah, embellish it to tell.
Yeah.
I just remember the old previews for, I believe it was GTA 4, and being like, wow, this is a 12-page article on IGN.
Yeah, exactly. Even GTA 5 got one of those where it's just like, here's 10 pages. And I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, that was the era of that guy's Rock Band article.
Yes.
Where eventually it became like, I can't write a lot about the 5 minutes a game they let me see. I guess I'll just make it about me.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah.
So you didn't want to read?
No, I didn't want to read that.
Did they announce features for the game?
They did talk about the skill tree that's going to be in it. That's in there instead of... yeah, it's worrying. Absolutely.
Yeah, I only know about this because people immediately got concerned.
Yeah. This is in there instead of buying individual moves. They're now like a skill tree where you go through them, buy them in this way.
I see.
It might be the same. It might just give an order to it now, which might be all right. I don't know. There's not enough information here for me to harshly judge it.
Maybe it'll mostly be stuff like, okay, the skill trees are like, there's only prerequisites when this is obviously a continuation of a previous move.
Right. Hopefully it's something like that. They
Like
said
if
that
this is
even
some
torture
fucked up-
attacks are on it, which is worrying.
Oh, come on, Platinum. Don't fumble the last bag you're ever gonna have.
I know, right? They also talked about levels being more explorable. Like they showed this a little bit in the trailer of having like your spider powers let you get to new areas and stuff like that. And it sounds like that's the idea there of just having bigger levels. And also they announced Jennifer Hale's the new voice of Bayonetta. Allegedly, Helena Taylor had various overlapping circumstances that prevented them from hiring her. And it's the same voice actress in Japanese, like they kept the old one. So I was like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah, that sucks.
Like, what, guys? You were developing this for 6 years. How did you not make time?
It's okay. It's not like the voice of Bayonetta is iconic.
No, certainly not.
No one's jacked it to that voice before. But yeah, we have a term for biboification, but it's you become voiced by Jennifer Hale on a long enough timeline. You're just original voice actors.
How many people has it happened to?
I don't know, but it feels like this is a horrifying thing.
Does Samus talk in Dread at all, even a line?
No.
I thought she had one line.
Yes, she speaks in the foreign language.
Yeah, she has a foreign language line. I feel like there's one in English.
She just goes, old bird.
Is that Jennifer Hale? Because I know Prime Samus is Jennifer Hale.
Right.
Yeah, she speaks chorizo.
But yeah, I don't know.
No, it is not. It is not.
Okay.
Oh, so she wants to do Jennifer Hale-fication.
Oh, wow. Reverse Hale-ification.
Apparently, it's some Spanish actress, which makes sense considering it was Mercury's team.
Oh, weird.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess when you don't have to do dialogue in any way, it's just that.
Yeah. I mean, it's Chozo. You just speak Chozodian and you're good.
Right. But that's it for the Bayonetta 3 cover story.
When was it? Okay, that's coming out in 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's really close.
That's exciting. I genuinely, there's nothing they could write about this game that doesn't make me excited to see how it plays out. Mm-hmm. I know because they wrote there was a skill tree.
Right?
And I'm still just like, oh, I need to see that in action. Not, oh no! Literally, they would have to go, Dear Daniel Video Games, we have done the car slider puzzle again. You must beat both this time.
No!
Like, that's what that would have to be in the article.
God,
you should try Astral Chain.
If they're more exploratory levels,
I'm
we're
sitting here
adding a
thinking,
slider puzzle.
do I know enough about Astral Chain to make an Astral Chain joke right now? Something about ice cream, I think.
Oh, God! So Bayonetta has a really tall ice cream cone, Bob, and you got to tilt the Joy-Cons.
Can we not? Can we not tilt the Joy-Cons?
Hey, Bob, what else do you have?
Tri-Ace is apparently in horrible financial situations right now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they posted as being way in debt for this year.
Yeah, for this year, they're millions of dollars in debt.
Yeah, I believe it's like $4 million.
Oh.
Yeah, it's about $4 or $5 million in debt.
Now, they're a company, so they're like, are they actually in debt, or are they in like the kind of fake debt that's good for taxes?
Let me see.
They're a Japanese corporation.
Oh,
so
shit, they're fucked.
There's a special term for it I have here.
Insolvent.
Insolvents, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, solvent is the one you want to be.
You want to be solvent, not insolvent.
Yes.
Just to be clear, if anyone was confused on which of these two things you should be.
Basically, their mobile game shut down earlier this year in Japan, and they have had no new projects since. Oh my God, I can't remember.
Star Ocean
I
5.
think it was
Star Ocean 4 re-releases and End of Eternity,
yeah.
Residents of Fate re-release.
and
Star Ocean
that
5
First
is-
Departure R.
Yeah.
No, wait, they weren't involved with that. That was entirely Square Enix without Tri-Ace being involved at all.
Right, which they may have still gotten a paycheck for, but it's unclear.
Yeah, that's rough.
This is like, from the research I've done, I don't think anybody who worked on the good Star Oceans is still even at Tri-Ace.
No
Yeah,
shit.
It looks
Probably
like it looks like Nintendo and Square Enix proper poached a lot of these people.
Yeah, sure.
And Sony got some of them. Like, one of the really high up people on Star Ocean 2 worked on Knack 2.
Well, there you
And
go. That's why it's so
Gran
good.
Turismo Sport, I think, was also had some of them on it. So, like, it's like, okay, I'm like, if Trice went out of business, I'm not sure what you lose.
You know, those other companies poached them, which may sound unfair. A lot of people are like, they probably offered them unreasonably better pay, and it's like, no, they just went, we're gonna pay you less actually, but you don't have to work with that engine ever again. Basically came over instantly.
It's like Square Enix, I'm pretty sure, owns Star Ocean. Like, they own the IP.
Yes.
And most of the games because they published them. Or all the games because they published them. So it's like, I don't know, maybe I'll play the Divine Force and be like, wow, it's sad if these people go out of business. This was great. But if they go out of business, again, like, at the moment, I'm not sure what we as like a culture lose.
Yeah, I mean, even if the Divine Force is good, at the end of playing it, I feel like you can look at what they've done over the last decade and be like, well, that made sense when they go out of business.
Yeah, they've had a ton of fumbles. I would worry that if they're gone, Square will stop caring about Star Ocean. They clearly still care about Valkyrie Profile, though, so I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe Square Enix would be like, fuck yes, get these people. They have Unreal. Make a Star Ocean.
Yeah, I would like to play a Swell
like
Star Ocean game.
Yeah,
like Star Ocean. Like Square Enix seems to think they need to release 850 games a year. like that was one of the things that the CEO said about at the investor meeting about like selling off Crystal Dynamics. It's like, no, we can use the money we were spending on those games to make like 100 games over here, because we're not pumping Sony money into fucking which one. Is she the Tomb Raider yet? I don't know.
Absolutely not. But yeah, it's basically the entire financial situation sits on the Divine Force. So hopefully that's good, and hopefully it sells well. We'll see.
There's probably a Star Ocean subtitle joke here about faithlessness, but I don't know. I don't have it. Let's move on.
Sure.
It's also worth noting real quick that Tri-Ace is not independent anymore. They were bought in 2015 by some shitty mobile game company.
Well, that explains some things.
Like their shitty mobile game.
So like, if anything, I feel like it might even be Square Enix being like, no, come on, let them make a Star Ocean game, and the mobile company being, no, we won't.
Next thing, that Pokemon trailer came out this morning.
Yes.
We found out different new things slightly. Like apparently that Let's Go feature where you can send your Pokemon out. You can do that with more than one Pokemon at once. They showed
Pretty
that
cool.
during one of the team battles.
And for people who don't remember, it's not only just for battling random wild Pokemon, it's also for, I don't want to walk over there to pick up that TM. Just go get it for me.
Lazy mode.
But also that battling thing rules.
Yeah, it does.
They introduced the technical machine.
So good.
Which they literally say that in the text, which I was like, thank you. You know how stupid this is. Good. But this is really neat. It seems like it's going to be at every Pokemon Center. It's just a vending machine, and you use materials you get from fighting Pokemon and capturing Pokemon to make new TMs. So it sounds like we'll just get access to TMs way earlier.
I'm wondering if you get like the whole catalog, or like the farther out you go, the more are in the list. Or
yeah, I'm not.
It's badge gated.
I bet it'll be related to whatever your progress metric is. Like if you pick the badge thing, it'll open up more, like based on what badges you have.
I mean, since you can do all three of those like storylines at any point, you can just pick up and put them down. I feel like it's got to be something else other than just badges.
I mean, I imagine it'll be that with a combination of materials, because I can't imagine them being like, okay, 6-year-old who with the level 8 Pokemon, here's Earthquake.
Yes.
But yeah, I bet it's just going to be the materials are the gating factor.
Yeah.
Like you need to go to this area to get this Pokemon to get that material.
Right. Which
That'd be
means,
my guess.
even over Sword and Shield, this game will offer new ways to break it.
Yeah, no, this game's going to be busted, which is hilarious.
It's great. And honestly, like adding some crafting systems like this, that's really good to just add more RPG back into Pokemon. Like more stuff you expect from other RPGs.
They also showed Giraffurig's evolution.
It rules
What
so
is-
fucking hard.
It is so fucking good. This is one of my favorite new Pokemon in a long time.
Yeah. No, this thing fucking rules.
They
If you
got
wanna-
the Hot Topic hoodie.
Yes, I
Yes.
cannot wait to get one and name it Ass Face and just steamroll with it.
If anyone else wants to take a stab at pronouncing this name.
It's Farid Giraffe. Because it's supposed to be giraffe at the end instead of at the beginning. Giraffe rig. Farid Giraffe.
And then, again, you can read it either direction the same way.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's really fucking good. Such a good fucking design.
And he's what, second gen or third gen?
Second.
Okay, it's been that long.
It's been that long. And these inspired bastards went, it's a time.
They also showed customize your character. Boys have a lot of hairstyles. It might not even be gender specific, which ones they can use.
That's how it looked.
Yeah.
Thank God.
It's like, thank you.
Just opened it up. Like,
Finally, everyone
yes.
can get the romantic tuck. Bob loves that hairstyle so much.
I got to tell you, going through Sun and Moon as a skinhead because of how terrible all the boy haircuts were, really recontextualizes that game. When they're all like, thank you, white bald guy, for coming here and showing us the true way of Pokemon battling. I was really last samuraiing it up on that island. This is how we do it on the island, bro.
You're like, no, thank you, Alolans, for opening up your land to be bought by me. And then you buy half the islands.
They showed off the selfie camera. You can do that. You can make a trainer card with the selfie picture. It's
so good.
A feature that was direly missing in Arceus, where it's like you can take pictures of your character. Your trainer card will always have a generic picture that doesn't even look like you, because he doesn't account for any customization you've done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this rules. This is so damn good.
And then the last thing they showed, picnicking, was Pokemon.
Yay.
Yeah, you play with Pokemon.
Make a terrible sandwich.
Yeah, you make a sandwich.
You put the tomato slices down and then you put the cherry tomatoes on top.
You're like some psychopath.
I did not understand I cannot remember what it's called now. When you crystallize your Pokemon.
Terrasticize.
Terrasticize.
When
terrible.
your Pokemon completes its focus.
God, stop.
I did not understand what that was before. I didn't know if they'd release it because in the early trailers, like, it's shiny now. I'm like, this looks as dumb as all the other gimmicks you've done before. I did not understand it was some big brain type switching shit.
Yes.
Oh yeah, no, it fucking rules.
Yeah, that's super good.
Yeah, they were talking about the terrasticize. Okay, they were talking about how there's a move that just its type is whatever your type is for that, and I'm like, oh. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good. Mm-hmm. That's really good.
It was like, you had the really cool designed grass gym leader come out and throw the pseudo Wudo. I'm like, that's not. Oh, this is the best way to introduce this ever.
I laughed so hard when I was like, he's using a pseudo Wudo. That's bullshit.
I gotta wonder if gyms are going to be like that, where now they're going to have any random thing imaginable, but they're all going to be the right type, or they're going to have the regular types and just randomly type them out with terastalizing.
Yeah, they're going to have brilliant plays like you would see from people doing weird, quirky bullshit with their own Pokemon, but you're going to see that from gym leaders now. And they're all going to have a Pikachu.
I wonder if, like, when you terastalize a Pokemon, will that, like, change, like, stat values and shit?
I don't think it's going to change stats, but obviously it'll change resistances. So, like,
I was I was thinking specifically, if you had, say, an Inferno, that new Thunder Punch, and you terastalized it into an electric type, would that Thunder Punch get that bonus?
Yes.
Well, yeah, it would get stabbed.
Because it would be super effect, or it would be stabbed, so you get 1.5 times damage. Which fucking rules. They better have Chimchar in that game. They better be like, yeah, come on over.
Yeah, they have not confirmed him yet, I don't think.
No, they haven't confirmed any other region starters yet, I don't believe. Unless you count Let's Go Kanto. Because Pikachu's...
Oh, you mean Pokemon Yellow?
Yes. That's a region.
Ooh, you know what this needs to be the gen we get a new fucking Eevee.
It's been too long.
How many types are left?
There's a lot.
We don't have a ghost, right?
We don't have ghost. We don't have poison. We don't have
Dragon.
We don't have dragon. We don't have
steel,
ground or rock. We don't have steel.
Yeah, we need some Eevees.
Yeah, no, they're overdue.
Yeah, 100%. Let's go, Eevees. Yeah, this trailer, even though it was just the video form of the information they already released with a couple additional details, and getting to see it played was immensely hype for me. This is the most excited I've been for a gen since 5th gen. It feels good, man. Feels good. With that, we're gonna head over to Chris's news. Chris,
all of my news this week is bad. Literally every single piece.
I know.
I'm sorry.
This is the roller coaster moment. We hit the top, and now we're gonna do the dive. Just start with the top.
No.
So, hey, Aggro.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the parable of the golden goose, where the farmer and his wife have a goose that lays eggs, and the farmer is like, "Oh, getting a gold egg every day isn't fucking fast enough. Let's cut open the goose to get the gold eggs out of it." And then I don't know how it ends. I assume it's a feel good ending where they both kill themselves.
Even as a child, I thought to myself, I feel like farmers should know how goose works.
So the writer, lead designer, and artists of Disco Elysium have all been forced out of the company by the money people, is what one of them said, is how one of them phrased it. Not only that, they have lost a bunch of other people. They have lost so many writers that the head writer of Disco Elysium 2 is now like the one Londoner who was additional writing on the first game. There's also a really shitty angle to this that people have pointed out where it's like everybody from Estonia has been fired and are being replaced with upper class people with high profile degrees from London. They literally gentrified a fucking game studio.
That's insane.
What were they thinking?
Well, Bob, they were thinking that they could somehow turn this into a live service game because the studio is also hiring live service people.
Did you hear that? That was the sound of us hitting rock bottom.
Yeah.
Are you ready for Elysium Online?
I cannot stress this enough. This game sold more than anyone's wildest expectations. It had like a staff of 20 people. It has sold well over 3 or 4 million copies. It won awards everywhere. And the executives still cut creatives' throat. There's nothing you can do to keep them from killing you. There's literally nothing.
Yeah.
It's like they are a bloodthirsty beast that is designed to kill. They don't even know why.
Yeah, because you can't turn this around. Like this is a live
there's
service
no
game
turning
will
this around.
fail.
Like even if it isn't a live service game, like they stole the head writer's like 30-year project that he had been working on since he was like 14. His setting and all the history and everything about it. They're just like, no, it's ours now. Sorry. By the way, the person in charge over there, the money guy, somebody who's been convicted of investor fraud more than once, to my understanding. So it's just like
nightmare.
Fuck that studio. Don't buy anything that studio puts out. I don't care if one of the fucking freaks they hired after they fired everybody is on Twitter saying you're racist for doing it or whatever fucking stupid shit she was saying. Fuck her. Like it. You know when auteur theory is bad? When it's letting somebody get away with being abusive. You know when it isn't bad? Shit like this. Can you believe that everybody who made the game are important to making the game?
People are fungible.
I feel like I was legitimately going insane seeing game like not. Thankfully, not most. Most game journalists actually pulled up their big boy pants and were like, no, this is fucking noxious. But there's still those ones who knee jerk to, oh, people are mad, it must be good.
Yeah, of
like
course.
They knee jerk to that being like, people are fungible. You shouldn't do auteur theory. What about the lunch lady who's still there? It's still the same studio. Or like senior designers at fucking Blizzard hopping in to say that. You work for Blizzard.
No. You still work for Blizzard because there's a difference before you did it even a year ago. Jesus.
Fuck. Like the people who make things are crucial to the making of it.
No.
But that's not the point of the video game industry. I didn't ask you to make me a product. I asked you to make me money.
This might be like the first, because like consumer bases have rebelled before. Like they rebelled with the DMC. That's why that game fucking bombed.
Mhm.
They picked the game where literally no one who likes that game can even pretend that this is okay. Like they picked the one where nobody will be on their side.
Right?
This is what the fuck?
I
thought it was a joke the first 2 times I read it.
Yeah, I literally can't think of another game you could have chosen and another action you could have taken that would be more in direct contrast to what the intended and actual user base believes in. Wait, I think I know the next closest thing. Still not as harsh, but the next closest.
Okay.
Remember when the Dead or Alive 5 producer came out and said, it's not sexy this time. It's very respectable.
Yeah, but everybody knew that was a lie.
They were really upset that the game came out. And they're like, oh, he lied. And then he did it again for 6, and everyone went, he's fucking lying again. Ignore him. God.
Moving on to the next nightmare.
Wes
Chaos
Craven?
Chaos Head Noah, which is a visual novel part of the sci-fi adventure series, which Steins Gate, and I fucking forget what the third one is called.
Robotics Notes? Is that one?
Yes, I
Okay.
think that one. It's not being released on Steam, and it's literally just because someone at Steam in charge of approving this is a racist. Like that's the text. There's no subtext here because this game is ESRB rated, and you'll be able to buy it at Walmart. And they're like, no, you can't put this on Steam, but Furry Hitler, the actual porn game about fascism, that's allowed. And as Bob added to these notes, during the Steam Fest, porn games are on the Steam front page. So it's literally what I said. It's just one dude who is fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And Valve has always been really weird about visual novels. Like,
Yes.
at first they wouldn't let them on there at all.
Mm-hmm.
But
'Cause
now
they're
it's
not real
getting
games.
it's getting especially egregious. Like, what the? I went over this when Sony wanted changes done to I forget what the game was called. It was some horror game with a lot of gore, and they were like, "You have to change this." And I'm like, "Hey, guess what? This is why we have a fucking ESRB. Shut your mouth and put it on."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't need an additional layer of Puritan.
Correct. In fact, any layer is bad. ESRB is as much as I'm willing to allow.
Yes, the ESRB literally only exists so the government doesn't try and get involved.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There rumor, but it came from so many people that it sounds credible.
Oh yeah, this
Yeah,
is real. This is
they're
definitely real.
They're doing a Horizon Zero Dawn remake/remaster, remake/remaster, and a multiplayer thing, but that's separate. That's whatever. They can make a multiplayer Horizon game if they want. That's fine. But this is like, it seems just we're gonna stick the models from 2 into 1 and update the lighting system and charge you $70 for it.
Why?
Okay, so I want to
Bob,
be
the
optimistic.
answer is why. The answer to why is they're doing a multimedia project of Horizon and they want a game coming out at the same time, which seems to be literally the only reason that Last of Us 1 exists. And like, when do they stop? Because are they going to do one of these for Days Gone? Because they're making a Days Gone thing.
Look, Jim Ryan's stand activated, which rewound their catalog by 9 years. Weirdly enough, this does not happen for Bloodborne.
Never.
So when the Horizon remake thing comes out in 2 years, we'll be back about 9, maybe 8. Here's I want to be optimistic. I watch Mystic Ryan's YouTube channel. The only person I can hear Stan talk about console exclusive news, because he's not a Sony fanboy. Because you tune into Sony fanboys talking about news, they're intolerable. Basically, any fanboy makes my skin crawl because they think, well, my preferred console manufacturer is some sort of nice parent figure to me, and I'm like, you're fucking damaged.
Our noble sovereign, their horrible tyrant.
Yes. His moderate view on this, which is possibly the most generous I've ever seen him be with Sony, is that maybe it's less like The Last of Us Part 1 and more like The Last of Us coming over to the PS4. So it's not a huge from the ground up remade everything, and more like a more moderate upgrade that isn't as insanely resource wasteful. Which once he floated that, I was like, that seems more likely from the angle of firstly, we know the origin story of The Last of Us Part 1. It took way more time than I think anyone wants to invest in Horizon Zero Dawn coming over, because it took too much time for The Last of Us Part 1. So I think it might be something more moderate like that, not completely ridiculously, well, this game looks bad now, we have to... Because on the other hand, also, Horizon is a much more modern game graphically and technologically and stuff. At the same time, though.
Yeah, it's just...
We're going in, like, Sony is starting the world's shittiest trend. We're like, okay, The Last of Us 1. Even if there was a PS4 version, that was a fucking PS3 game. The PS3 is an arcane obelisk. It's not easy to do shit with the PS3 or anything that shipped on the PS3.
Look, if it doesn't have physically based rendering materials, it's not a real game, according to Jim Ryan.
So, like we're leading up to this game looks slightly better and now has accessibility features, $70.
Yeah, which is nuts.
I think it's crazy the idea that they're doing these to coincide with their multimedia event, because it's like that Last of Us remake of Part 1 came out a month ago. No one is going to talk about it. They stopped talking about it the second it released.
Yeah, I barely saw anybody talk about it.
Yeah, no, literally no one.
Yeah,
literally no one.
Nobody's excited for a 1-to-1 re-release of a game you can already play on modern systems. EA.
My fucking God. With the number, the breadth and variety of markets and fan bases crying out for different shit to be real.
Yeah.
This is what you're going to waste time, money, and inches on.
I mean, you motherfuckers could have remade A Crack in Time and just been the people's company.
I'm really scared because the only two things that we know Sony is making, or that they got deals for, that wouldn't have been approved before Jim Ryan got in, are Wolverine. Like, that's it. And that's Insomnia's enormous dick being able to do whatever they want. So I'm really scared that Sony's just going to enter this era of like, we're just making bullshit because Jim Ryan's a psychopath.
Yeah, there really
it's like
should
he's
be
not
new
approving anything
IPs.
cool. He's not approving any bringing back any old IPs. He's not approving any interesting old IPs. Everything has to be some fucking multiplayer shit, or just the sequel to the game that sold 20 million copies.
Yeah, that's the tragedy. We already know there's a lot of that. Like, we're getting Ghost of Tsushima 2. We're getting another Horizon. We're getting a Horizon multiplayer game. We're getting a remake of Horizon Zero Dawn.
I don't want a Horizon multiplayer.
Dude,
No.
I don't either. Once it leaked, like, oh, it's probably going to take place during this time period and it's going to be a shooter in Horizon. I was interested in a multiplayer, like, game from Guerrilla that was a shooter. It didn't need to be Killzone. But now that I know it's Horizon and it's of that time period, I'm like,
shooter?
It's in the oh, fuck that.
Yeah.
No, like,
Fuck
for a moment, I'm
this.
like, okay, maybe like 4-person raid boss on a giant machine. Oh no, they're just making a shooter in the setting. Fuck.
I assumed when I heard Horizon multiplayer, I was like, oh, they're making like Ark. They're making Ark but Horizon.
Maybe. The newer leaks are pointing towards it is probably multiplayer against dinosaurs. So we can hope the newer leaks are accurate and the older leaks are just fucking wrong.
Yeah, those older leaks are awful.
But also, I forgot to mention, thank you, chat. the Horizon VR games. So that is now
Yeah, it's like,
1,
guys,
2, 3, 4 Horizon projects.
Horizon is neat and fine. Let it be its own one thing and let Guerrilla slave away at it because apparently you're locking them in that dungeon.
Right, that's fucking weird. That is weird that you have such a large studio and they're going to co-develop the VR game, remake their first game, and make a sequel and a multiplayer game all at once. Like, I would feel bad for Naughty Dog doing this for any of their IPs, doing 4 games simultaneously. That is just one IP. The fact you've done that with, like, the PS4 generation is a really good story of Sony maybe abandoning doing a huge variety of different games, but really investing big time over long development periods in new IP. So
Yeah,
for
we
this
got
gen
Horizon,
to become
we got Ghost, we got The Order, even if it didn't take off.
Even if it didn't work,
Yeah, Days
they
Gone.
tried it.
yeah, we got
Days
Days
Gone.
Gone. We got a number of things like that. And for this gen to become the complete opposite of that, where it's just we're only going to take things that are completely like based on a thing that already exists. Like
Sony could announce any of their old IPs except maybe Siphon Filter.
Yes.
Any of their old IPs, they could announce anything new, put a decent team and decent money into it. 5 million easy.
Yeah. They could
Like,
do that with
there
any
are-
old IP.
like-
They could do that with any brand new IP. They're big enough to do that.
yeah.
Like they have that prestige reputation and they're just wasting it.
That is what they're doing. They're killing their own momentum.
Yes.
Like generationally, they are murdering their momentum by wasting time and resources on iterating shit that what is the point?
Yeah, you
what
can-
are you trying to accomplish?
You can play Horizon Zero Dawn on your PS5, on your
Right.
PS4. It's
At
easy.
4K
And it's a good,
60. At
yeah, and it's a
4K
good
60.
experience.
Yeah.
It's a really good experience. Like, in no world did I play Horizon Forbidden West and go, the original's just completely fucking unplayable now.
Yeah.
The only things I would ever want to change about the original is stuff you can't because it's the fucking story.
Right. It's just like write a new story, but you're not going to do that.
Right,
That's
right.
insane.
That would be just the worst thing you could do. But yeah, like, for fuck's sake, make a multiplayer game, set it in a new IP.
Yeah, absolutely.
Feel free to co-develop that VR game, sure, and make a sequel. Fine. We don't need 4 things that are all Horizon. That's insane. So like Sucker Punch is tied up in Ghost of Tsushima 2. Insomniac feels like they're pulling the best variety hat trick because they just did a Ratchet, they're doing a Wolverine, and they're doing a Spider-Man.
right.
Naughty Dog, I have no idea. They're making The Last of
yeah.
Us multiplayer.
Yeah.
They just finished making The Last of Us 1 again.
the two
so-
of the biggest studios are locked in their gate.
Right.
So-
No, they're
Sony
in the
Studios-
basement.
Yes.
Sony Studios need to start chatting up like Sony Bin did and said, "Fuck you, let us make something else."
Yeah. It's really sad that it's like this.
We have an update to something that happened that we already talked about that came out during this podcast.
Uh-huh.
Steam has reversed course and Chaos Head will be allowed on Steam.
Hooray.
People yelled at them enough for it. People yelled at them enough. They're like, "Oh, this is big enough that we're getting more heat than we'd like." So hooray.
That's
Let's
good.
go on to the next nightmare.
Okay.
So fandom, as in fandom who brings you the shitty sites that clog up every fucking search result. That's literally their business strategy.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
They have acquired GameSpot, Metacritic, TV Guide, GameFAQs, Giant Bomb, Cord Cutter News, and Comic Vine. If you're a game journalist, you need to be shitting your pants right now. Because Patrick Klepek put out that article this week that basically said, which I didn't need because I have eyes and ears and pattern recognition. But he put out that article that's like, yeah, the only thing keeping a lot of publications open now are their game guides. Like, that's the thing that keeps the lights on at most publications now, unless it's like IGN.
Mm-hmm.
Fandom, who fills their shit with aggregate and stolen content and makes sure it's always the top search result, now owns GameFAQs.
Yep.
That doesn't sound like good news for any of those sites that need that revenue to live.
I was okay with the content of Giant Bomb becoming sewage water. As long as the wiki stayed up and untampered with. And now that's
that shit's
fucked.
destroyed.
Yeah, no, this is one of those moments where you start thinking like, do we need an agency to step in and stop a corporation from destroying an industry space?
I mean, we have an organization that's supposed to do that. They just don't.
I would never incite violence.
End of sentence.
Yep. I'm just saying, this is disgusting. They're literally using pretend money to buy the hard work of countless years of gamers creating content for the benefit of communities. And they're just going to ruin it.
Yeah.
And then shut it down.
Yeah.
Just so everyone knows, if you go to archive.org, they have a big pack of every single guide on GameFAQs.
Great.
You can get that before it has 500 megabytes of ads and videos plastered all over all of it.
Do you think we can get GameFAQs declared like a national historical landmark?
We should.
If the world was just.
Yeah. It's absolutely absurd. This shit sucks so bad. This is the news I never wanted to wake up to.
Hmm.
So I beat Soul Hackers 2 a while back.
Rats.
They announced that it's getting a patch that will just make it like a 1.5 better in November.
Yeah, I fucking lost it when I read this list of improvements. I'm like, Chris isn't going to be happy about missing out on any of this.
It's every single thing I complained about. It's like,
I've been thinking about looking into this Soul Hackers 2 game.
Me too. It's going to be great talking about it. Game of the year and how good it is now.
They added in a sprint. They added in like a speed. The fucked up thing was that it had combat speed up, but using it made your character's only normal attack.
What?
You couldn't have it on for actually selecting things. I don't know why.
Weird. Okay.
They added they improved the quick select menus and stuff. All kinds of fucking improvements. That's happening in November. Me upset.
Yeah.
It's almost like they should have just delayed it.
So the National Labor Board found that Activision Blizzard has been illegally withholding raises from employees trying to unionize, like the Raven software testers specifically.
Oh God.
Mm-hmm.
That's that story. Blizzard put out really fucking embarrassing and pathetic defenses that seem to boil down to what the National Board says is wrong. Please leave us alone. Blue.
No, every single investigative and regulatory board in the country is lying about us constantly. Ooh-woo.
I believe him because he said ooh-woo.
Like at a certain point, we have to hit a critical mass, like a tipping point of companies getting spanked for doing this shit to actually scare the rest of them.
Yeah, no, there has to be a point where they get literally dissolved. Like they get destroyed by the U.S. government. Like, no.
Come on, Dark Brandon.
I feel like, honestly, if the Microsoft deal falls through or gets kaputted by a government body, that's going to happen to Activision. Their stock price is going to fall through the floor.
That's okay, though. I hear, and I haven't verified this firsthand, but I hear there's a clause where if that doesn't go through, Activision still gets some fund money from Microsoft. Because it was a part of the clause of, just to show you're invested in actually seeing this happen.
Mm-hmm.
That I imagine that probably doesn't trigger if the government says no.
I think it does.
Who knows? People sign stupid fucking deals.
Either way, this is mostly a ridiculous thing to bring up because that's going to be a drop in the bucket compared to their valuation just plummeting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw that Brazil apparently fully approved it. It was like, we don't need to put any restrictions on this. And it's like,
okay,
it sounds very smart. You have made a lot of people with green icons very happy.
And I guess the last thing we have to talk about is which I didn't put in news. Is the Mario movie teaser.
That did happen.
Yep.
That looks like it'll be fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stop showing me that, Dan.
I'm waiting for like a full story trailer with all the weird modern pop culture references that they're gonna cram in.
Hey,
Illumination mostly makes movies that are fine. The Despicable Me movies are pretty good.
this isn't made by anyone in the Lonely Island.
Yeah, that's a big buff.
That's a huge buff on finding out.
So that trip, like the opening thing with Bowser, did not have any horrible joke that made me upset.
Yeah,
Jack Black's doing a fine job.
he is.
They twisted Mario's face just enough for Chris Pratt's voice coming out of him not seeming weird.
Mm-hmm.
I like I said this on Twitter. I really do think that Chris Pratt's voice coming out of Nintendo high fidelity Mario render Mario would be fucking strange.
Oh yeah.
But they didn't do that. They made like, no, this is Illumination Mario. He looks a little bit different.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's fine. That movie will probably be good.
Yeah, I expect the movie to hit probably 1 to 2 points higher for me than the Sonic movie, the first one.
Mhm.
I think it's going to be very much focused completely on the brand and exploring like the realization of the Mushroom Kingdom and all these things that'll be delightful. Whether or not there's a good film around that, I won't know until I watch it, but at least it won't,
Jack Black confirmed that Bowser's going to sing, so that movie's going to be like,
true. That's
at least
good.
have that going for it.
I feel like my entire valuation of this movie is going to revolve entirely around how many Mario 2 references are in it.
2 specifically.
Yeah.
So we need scary
Well,
masks.
we got the deep pull of the penguins from Super Mario 64.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's important.
Which I really enjoyed Bowser like shoving them out of the way and then nuking their castle.
Right. Like, oh, this is all very non-lethal. Oh my god.
No one was in there. It's fine.
Yeah, it was Sunday. Nobody was there.
Yeah. They all came out to fight because he said open the gates.
That was the cargo castle.
Miyamoto seething because one of those Koopas had an eye patch. He's like, no! I killed the entire Paper Mario franchise to prevent this.
Chris Pratt's ramble about playing Mario was the funniest shit in the world. And I'm like, Bob, there are editors for the Nintendo Directs right now who are fucking furious. They're like, how come we don't get to do that? Coming up next, this game, oh boy, I played Front Mission back on the SNES.
I fucking started skipping it halfway through.
It's
Because
so
he kept
rough.
doing that thing where it sounded like he was done talking, and then he would keep fucking talking. He's like, oh, hey, it's Jack Black. Trailer. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah, it was intense.
Fuck that went on for a while.
But
I played Mario as a kid. No shit. No shit, you played Mario as a kid. Fuck off.
He was
You're a living
different.
human.
He played it at the arcade, and then it came out on the Nintendo, according to him. So it was different for him.
Was that a thing?
Well,
Maybe-
Mario.
Maybe
I mean,
in
Mario.
Hawaii. I don't know, fucking because
No, there's an arcade version of the Super Mario Brothers.
Oh yeah, but the notion that it came out before the NES version.
Well, he just said before he got it. So
no, he said that it came
No,
out.
I was
on the
literally,
NES.
I'd never seen a Super Mario arcade cabinet.
Yeah,
Oh.
the NES Versus, I believe it's called, arcade is really funny because for years this is what people would adapt to make an RGB out NES. And the reason this is interesting is because its colors are fucking weird and people just swore by it for years. They're like, actually, this is how it'd look if it output right. And everyone goes, no, I don't think the yellow is supposed to look that fucked up, dude.
Maybe he meant the arcade, like the pipes and the single screen one.
Maybe. Who knows what Chris Pratt means?
Or maybe he said released and meant when I got it. That could also be the case.
Who are we to try to understand the words of Chris Pratt? But yeah, the trailer looked fine. It looks good. It looks like they made a movie. None of it looked ironic, thank Christ.
Yep.
yeah.
I'm so
thank
sick of
God.
irony.
Internet, we need to talk for a second. Why you want Chris Pratt to do a funny Italian accent? Well, why do you want that? Like he's doing kind of a Brooklyn thing. It sounds fine. Reminder, Nintendo says Mario's 25.
I'm trying to think of, would Chris Pratt trying to do an Italian accent for the whole movie be better or worse than Elon Musk as Waluigi?
Wasn't it Wario on SNL?
Yeah, I think it was Wario.
It was just Wario because he's being on trial for being greedy. And Elon Musk was like, this will help my reputation. And then he called like a hero who rescued children a pedophile. I mean, he did that years before, but it's always what I think of whenever he tries to fix his image.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that's it for news. Hey, Bob, we already talked about it, but tomorrow we're yelling at Asian street food videos over on Twitch. We just do Big Think here because... Well, now, honestly, Bob, how much time do you think I put in after we've done all the podcasts today just to get the stream over on this channel?
Probably like 3 hours.
It's maybe a lot of work because the local recording's 16 gigs every time.
Yeah. Are we doing any Street Fighter?
Yes, I actually. So once again, thanks, El Gordo. We got a code for the Street Fighter 6 beta. Eat it, Wooly. And we're going to be playing that tomorrow around the Asian street food videos. I'm so excited. Street Fighter 6 looks the best this shit has looked since 3. I'm so excited. They're finally... I thought for years, I'm insane that I want people to make their fighting games have a good single-player mode where you explore and fight other people. You know, like an actualization of the PSP Tekken Dark Resurrection. How they had those arcade AI enemies. I thought I was crazy for wanting that. And finally, someone's like, well, we're fucking doing it. I'm like, oh, shit! This is great. Also,
will the single player mode have an AI based on low tier God? I think that's important.
That is important, but it'll also get banned from my game.
Did it work on?
It'll say some shit.
I gotta say, every time I see Street Fighter 6 and like they announce more features and more modes and shit, I'm like, oh my god, it's like they made a whole video game, not just a fighting game. Wait, that's weird. Why was that in my brain?
Yeah, it's amazing how much that genre has normalized not making a full package on that end of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so happy to see Street Fighter 6 go this way, and everything about the art style and everything else. How fast the rematches are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's instant. It's great.
I'm waiting for them to announce like a really, really cracked out mode, like Tekken Ball. We need that level of shit.
Street Ball.
There are definitely weird things they've shown in that open world, so I'm sure there'll be something that's just like, what?
There's some quirky shit in there.
There is something.
Morgan is just going to be hanging out in some corner of that fucking open world.
They do have some game where a bull runs back and forth across the screen as you guys fight, and if you counter the bull, he goes at the other guy.
I think you could just turn on stage
awesome.
hazards, right?
Maybe.
I think that was part of that package. Different stages have different things. I hope you can turn on items.
Home run back.
Streets of Rage
That was a
bottle.
cool thing, and I think that was the thing that was in Ultra Street Fighter 4, the PS4 version.
Mm-hmm.
Where they added in like the goofball mode. And I'm like, yeah, have that shit from the start. People like that kind of thing.
This is awesome. I'm super excited to check that out, which is the only reason I am doing anything other than yelling at Asian street food videos tomorrow on twitch.tv/gigaboots. Aside from that, Monday, of course, will be Pokemon Moon. Then we'll see you guys next Thursday for Big Think Dimension. Aggro, do you have anything you want to show?
I mean, I got an end table. I'm trying to unload, but that's really more of a local.
You have to pick it up.
Don't come to my house for my end table. I will shoot on sight.
He's Floridian.
Watch out.
It's not a joke.
I'm allowed to do it down here.
Chris, do you have any people you want to shoot for standing on your property?
No. I'm gonna stream something. I don't know what. Yeah, maybe I've been feeling the grip, so maybe it's time to do RE4. It's October after all.
Yeah, that's fair.
Also, as an aside, Valkyrie Elysium is out. Every time I talk about it, somebody's like, "It's out."
Mm-hmm.
Like it's out. Fucking go buy it. Some companies seem to not understand the only marketing that actually matters is the one to tell people your game is out. They need to know it exists, and then when it's out, do a launch trailer. Every single time, do a launch trailer.
Every single time.
That demo was too early.
Yes.
Like being a full month before it, people forget.
Mm-hmm.
Just do a launch trailer, spoil the entire game like everybody does for some reason, Just let the sites put up a news article. What yada 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 launch trailer.
Okay. Well, that's going to do it for this week's Big Think Dimension. And thank you very much for listening to this episode of Big Think Dimension. This podcast is literally only possible because of your support over at patreon.com/GB Podcast. Head over there to get early access to our new series sometime soon, and a lot of other exclusive content, and to sleep at night knowing you supported some pretty cool dudes.